I am a dull presentation in a dull office. I am forgettable, boring, and everywhere. And I am a Canva presentation for a big, shiny business deal. I am clear, confident, and bold. I'm a Canva presentation for a charming soiree, elegant, graceful, like a nice cup of tea on a lovely afternoon.
Me, I'm like a Canva prezzo for a trendy campaign, so hot, so now, so viral.
Choose from thousands of designed presentation templates on Canva. Design against dull.
When you first meet the one, it's electric. The attraction is intense. And it's tempting to rush things. But you need to take it slowly. Spend a couple of days together and let the relationship build. So when you fall in love with an electrified Ford like the new Explorer, Mustang Mach-E, and Kuga plug-in hybrid, we want you to spend quality time with them, which is why until the end of November, you can take one of Ford's electrified vehicles for a 48-hour test drive. Then you really know it's the one for you. Book your date today. Ford, bring on tomorrow. Search Ford 48-hour test drive. Test drive subject to availability.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on another big day of league action across Scotland. Bottom side Hibs really could be doing with a win at home to St Mirren, with Motherwell off the back of their Cup semi-final defeat to host St Johnstone. Dundee United against Ross County before Aberdeen and Dundee play later. And then tomorrow, high-flying Celtic go to Killie and Rangers look to continue their recovery at home to Hearts. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
The week in Scottish football has been nothing short of breathtaking, from Celtic's 3-1 win over RB Leipzig to Rangers going to Athens and getting a draw with Olympiacos. The less said about Hearts, the better. But a week ago at this time, none of us foresaw Celtic taking 6 goals off Aberdeen. By the end of tonight, Aberdeen could be 3 points ahead of Celtic in the league and 12 points ahead of Rangers before they play Hearts tomorrow. And also, Hibs bottom of the league, they must win against St Mirren. They must, because the international break's coming up and clubs get trigger happy when that happens. So, events all over the place of great interest.
Certainly is. And obviously the headlines maybe for Aberdeen later on, the evening kick-off against Dundee can go ahead of Celtic, but for Motherwell and Dundee United, an opportunity to go level in points with Rangers, and we don't often say that at this time of the season. Usually there's been a breakaway at the top of the table and Rangers are far ahead of anyone, including with Celtic. But for United and Motherwell, a great opportunity for them. So be interesting to see how those ones go today. But for Hibs at the bottom of the table, when are they going to get their season up and running? Can't pick a better time than today.
Back to domestic football, Gordon. Looking forward to a good weekend. We're here all weekend. You start off today with some really good games, and then you even get into the Championship. Top play bottom, Falkirk against Airdrie, and a Gordon Dalziel derby, Partick Thistle v Raith Rovers.
Plenty to look forward to. You can tweet us all afternoon at Clyde SSB. Of course, the bread and butter of a Saturday afternoon. You can get in touch on the phones a bit later on as well. I will give you the nod, where you can react to all the week's biggest talking points, today's developments, preview tomorrow. Do what you like. 101419511025. Write it down. We'll give you the nod a bit later on. But until such times, we'll build up to the games. We'll see you through all the action. And let's see what these three come up with on a Saturday afternoon as well. It has been quite a week, Hugh Keevins, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtic game was quite sensational. Use any description you like. Brendan Rodgers chose generational. But it was an outstanding display, arguably the best display given by a Celtic team managed by Brendan Rodgers. And how do you figure out Rangers? Last Sunday we stood in this studio, we watched them struggle against Motherwell. They were booed off at half time. They got a 2-1 narrow win over a Motherwell side who didn't even play well on the day. And then Philippe Clement goes to Athens, goes a goal down, and still comes out of there with a very valuable point in the Europa League. They are an enigma.
Yes, some week, especially for Celtic. I mean, I agree with Hugh. Brendan Rodgers described it as generational. I guess what he means about that is it's something that people cling on to, I suppose, for years to come. You think back to some of those standout Celtic results in the Champions League. The one that always comes to mind is, remember the 4-3 game against Juventus, and people remember that and talk about that. But even some of the games that I was part of the squad in and beat, big teams, AC Milan and Man United, I don't think any of that came close to the performance, the levels that those Celtic players hit on Tuesday night. I thought it was outstanding.
When Celtic beat Barcelona, Tony Watt, they had 13% possession that night. 13%. They were battered, and everyone still refers to that result. But this was a Celtic side who turned the tables. They battered Leipzig.
That was a complete performance, and that was the thing that's made us all stand up and take notice that Celtic team has it in them to beat a team second in the Bundesliga, especially with the kind of mental scars of what happened in Dortmund. And Hugh's right, for Rangers, I thought Rangers played very, very well. I think when they attack a game with that sort of, those sorts of tactics, and they looked just more mobile and able to get forward and played forward quickly, they looked a good side. It's translating that into their domestic form. It's the problem Philippe Clement-Scott. So that'll be interesting to see how they react tomorrow. But a good week, apart from Hearts, of course. How can you put your finger on where Hearts are in a minute? One week they're good, next week they're all over the place.
Actually played pretty well midweek, to be fair, just against a decent Bundesliga side. But anyway, we usually pause later on a Saturday to reflect on the week's biggest talking points, so I suspect we'll get back to that. We've got attention to turn to the 3 o'clocks in the Premiership. We'd often start closest to home, but I'm thinking the capital. I'm thinking Hibs against St Mirren, Fraser Wishart. That is massive for the home side.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge, and you guys talking about it in the studio. Hugh mentioned the international break. Mark saying, when will Hibs get that victory? And I think you're saying they must win today, but this will be a tricky one. You've got to factor in that St Mirren scored 5 goals here at Easter Road last season, a 3-0 win, included the last time here in February. So we seem to be saying it weekly that this is a big game for Hibs, and today again, sadly for them, that's true. Here we are, 11 games into the season. Hibs bottom of the table, an amazing 20 points behind Aberdeen, who they would see as a similar size club, similar rivals. And the combination of poor finishing, I think a lack of concentration, conceding late goals, and last week, of course, I think we're hard done by a decision by the referees, led to a poor run of results. But they have had 3 draws in a row, so there's a bit of a sign of improvement. And talking to people around here who see Hibs every week, they're saying the performances haven't been too bad, but it's the results, because amazingly they've conceded 4 goals in the last 4 games after the 98-minute mark. And if you add the Bruce Anderson and Simon Murray equalisers versus Hibs early in the season, they were in the 92nd and the 88th minute, you can see why there'll be nervousness around Easter Road today if the scoreline is tight going into the latter stages. That said, St Mirren have had a bit of a sticky period as well. They're only 4 points ahead of Hibs after all we talk about, and off-field issues. I think early start in Europe as well, that was new to them. Injuries all contributed, but they're slowly getting the key players back from their injuries, returning to their squad. And it might just be a game that suits St Mirren. It's away from home, they can stay compact, they can use the pace and power they have in the attacking third and in the midfield on the break. And of course they will, it's an old cliche, but they'll try to turn the edgy home support against their team in the early stages. A win for Hibs would mean a happy 2-week international break down Leith Way, but another defeat and the pressure and the gloom just builds and builds. So a fascinating 90 minutes ahead, and I think there will be goals here today. For Hibs, they've made 2 changes. Kurevic suspended to get a second yellow for that penalty incident last weekend, and Lewis Miller drops to the bench. In come Yuan and Chris Cadden. 4-3-3 formation. Joseph Bursic in goals, Chris Cadden, Marvin Ekpieta, Warren O'Hora and Jordan Obita at the back. In midfield, Kwon, Nectarios Triantis and Joe Newell, with Ellie Ewan and Junior Hoylett either side of Martin Boyle, who looks like will play right through the middle. Jordan Smith, Lewis Miller, Dylan Levitt, Jake Doyle-Hayes, Jack Iredale, Sean McCurdy, Nicky Cadden, Rocky Bushiri and Dwight Gale are on the bench. St Mirren just 1 change. It's a straight swap. Conor McMenamin is in for James Scott, who drops to the bench. 3-4-3, Ellery Balcom in goals. Back 3, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor. Across the middle, Elvis Buomono, Mark O'Hara, Killian Phillips and Scott Tanzer. Colin McMenamin, Toyosi Olasanya and Greg Kiltie are the front 3 subs. Peter Erminski, Luke Kenny, Callum Penman, Oisin Smith, Dennis Adeniran, James Scott, Evan Mooney, Jonah Ayunga and Mikel Mandron. And the referee, a very new one to me, is Ian Snedden, and in the VAR box to keep him right is experienced Kevin Clancy.
As you mentioned, Fraser, Hibs are not doing loads wrong within certain parts of games, but they get to 85 minutes, they tend to fall apart. If they're leading, they'll be pegged back. If they're level, they'll fall behind. Yes, it's a harsh refereeing decision last week, one which the KMI panel from the Scottish FA thought the referee got wrong. But when all's said and done, would the Hibs ownership model, because we know it's a bit different, would they stomach today if it didn't go well?
Well, I was questioning a few of the Hibs fans outside as well, and they don't think so. And it's the Black Knights, perhaps, rather than the Gordon family that would have a say in what goes on here at this football club. Earlier on, even before the season started, Bill Foley from the Black Knights was saying that nobody's listening to him up here. And when he invested, I thought he said he was going to be a silent partner, but clearly they're not. And that's going to be the issue for David Gray and Liam Craig, two guys I know really well from the PFA days, and two good guys. But I think defeat today, and it could be a nervy few days for the two of them going into this international break, especially if the teams around. If Hearts were to pick up points, if Joseph to pick up points, all of a sudden there's a wee gap there. But people do tell us that Hibs have been playing fine, been playing okay, they've been not scoring goals, but the lack of concentration at the back is just costing them at certain times in the game. So today it's a home game against St Mirren. It's one they should be looking to win, but it's just written all over it is that this game is going to be very, very tricky for the home side.
Let's hear from David Gray.
I think especially if you look at the last three results, especially the last one, it feels like a defeat at times, but we've not lost the game. I felt the players deserve to go and get that win. If you can end this little period with 3 points, it's something to then go and build on again, and how quickly it can change from there.
And the man looking to pile on the misery, Stephen Robinson.
It cements an okay start to the season. Expectations have risen here, and that's absolute credit to the players. And when people are disappointed with results or drawn at home, then I take that as a compliment, because the players have raised the expectations so much at this football club, and it's credits them. And it shows that things aren't that bad. We're sitting joint sixth, and an opportunity to go and cement our place in the top six coming into the third international break, which, considering everything that's happened, and injuries and decisions and all the things that's going on at the football club, I think would be fantastic.
So looking forward to that immensely. It might be fraught for those of a Hibs persuasion, but they'll try and get that win, I'm sure. Hibs against St Mirren at Easter Road in the capital. What about Motherwell against St Johnstone, the Simo Valakari homecoming? Gordon Dalziel used to have posters of him in his wall in the 90s. Roger Hanna's there.
Yeah, Valakari coming back to Fir Park today, the first time in 24 years. He was signed by Alec McLeish. He made his debut here in a 2-2 draw with Aberdeen back in February 1997, and he became something of a fan's favourite in his 3 and a bit years with the Steelmen before moving on to Derby County. The 51-year-old Finn now brings the St Johnstone team to Lanarkshire, and they need the points. I watched them for Super Scoreboard Gordon last Saturday. They lost 2-1 at home to Hearts. They played well in spells. They could maybe consider themselves slightly unfortunate, but the defeat dropped them to 10th, and they're just 2 points above David Gray's Hibs, that the phrase I was talking about a moment ago. They won't find it easy here. Motherwell, of course, played well in that first half against Rangers at Hampden in the semi-final last Sunday, and they've made just one change today. Liam Gordon, the former St Johnstone defender, he misses out. He completes a 2-game league ban for that red card challenge in Celtic's Adam Eder. There's no Shane Blaney either, and Stuart Kettlewell's already without his club captain Paul McGinn, his vice captain Stephen O'Donnell, Ross Callaghan, Callum Slattery and Jack Vale. But Harry Payton does return to the bench this afternoon. There's also a first appearance for a new Motherwell chairman. Kirk McMillan, the chief executive of Scottish fashion brand Be Inspired, was appointed through the week, and Daz asked me to give Be Inspired a wee mention so he could maybe get some more Motherwell related clothing freebies in the next few days. St Johnstone, they make 2 changes. One is in goal. I saw young Ross Sinclair come off at half time last week in that Hearts game. Josh Ray come on for him. He starts today with another youngster, Craig Hepburn, on the bench. The other changes are surprising. When top scorer Benji Kimpioka is dropped to the bench, Matt Smith comes into a reshaped midfield, and there's places on the bench for Lewis Nielsen, who couldn't play against Parent Club Hearts last week, and also for Bojo Mikulic, Croatian defender who played under Valakari in Latvia, has now got his work permit and could make a debut today. So I'll give you the teams. Motherwell, Aston Oxborough in goals. A back 3 of Dan Casey, Kofi Balmer and Steve Seddon, who's going to tuck in as a centre back. The midfield, Marvin Caleta, Andy Halliday, who assures me he will celebrate if he scores for Motherwell today. The skipper, Lennon Miller, Tom Sparrow and Ewan Wilson. And up top, Tawanda Maswanise and Apostolos Stamatolopoulos. On the bench, Heggie, Zdravkovsky, Robinson, Ebi, Watt, Tavares, Kutrumbis, fit again Harry Payton, and 16-year-old academy graduate John Joe Friel. And we're not sure whether there's any relation to our own David. We'll maybe find out in a minute, Gordon. St Johnstone, it's Josh Ray, as I say, in goal. At the back, Dre Wright, Jack Sanders, Kyle Cameron and Barry Douglas. We think it's a diamond in the midfield. Spence Sprangler at the base. Then Matt Smith and Jason Holt with Graham Carey in the number 10 role. And up top, Adama Sidibe and Nicky Clark on the bench. Hepburn, Nielsen and McCullich. Raymond, Kimpioka and Keltians. Franjak, Essel and Kirk. The ref is Ross Hardy. The VAR is Greg Aiken.
I have to say, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are practicing their Apostolos Stomatolopoulos in the studio, and it is not going well. If only those mics had been left on during that. You're going to be keeping a keen eye, Roger Hanna. These things are sometimes written. Your colleague on a Monday night, Andy Halliday, what do you think? A goal, shirt off, swing it round his head, knee slide, backflip, finger to the lips, hand cupped behind the ears, the full lot?
Yeah, and probably an Alfredo Morelos celebration as well, just at the end of it all, I would imagine. I think one thing that's been lost, Gordon, and among all the furore about the no celebration, is how well he took the goal. It was a great ball in by Steve Seddon. He attacked it. I don't know quite where Jeffrey was going. I think maybe he'd heard Gordon Dalziel had left a window open and was going to close it or something. But Andy took the goal really well. He's been getting into good positions. Would not at all surprise me if he was among the goals again today.
Could have been an interesting one, because we're talking about, for pretty much all of the league table, Roger, we're not really sure if it's taken shape yet. I think that's because everyone expects that bottom two to not be there just because of the size of the clubs, although maybe people are starting to change their minds. And then you look at St Johnstone as well, you know, signs of life under a new manager, but not plain sailing. I wonder how you see this one going.
I would fancy the home team today, Motherwell. I saw St John's last week, as I said to you, Gordon, good in flashes. I'm actually surprised Benji Kimpioka has been dropped to the bench. I've noticed I was coached a week or two back from Valakari just about his work rate, his lack of care in retaining possession, that kind of thing. So I wonder if that's maybe just cost him his place. It looks a St Johnstone team is maybe here for a point. You know, when you add Matt Smith into that midfield with Sprangler and Holt and Carey, Nicky Clark played a deeper role as well last week, so I'm interested to see if he's pushed on into the Kimpioka role or stays where he is. But I think Simo, and his first meaningful return here for about a quarter of a century, I think he'd happily go back up the road with a point.
And your final 3 o'clock Premiership offering, Dundee United Ross County. David Friel is there.
Yeah, Gordon, quiet just now, but it's been a good weekend for Jim Goodwin already. He signed a new 1-year deal last night. I think it's a well-deserved contract. Jim guided Dundee United to promotion last season. I think it's fair to say they've had a more than decent start this season. Some lows, but plenty of highs. They sit 4th in the table, 16 points, and I think this new deal gives everyone at the club just a bit of certainty moving forward, especially going into next season with contract renewals coming down the line for players, etc. United, as I say, they actually thought winning 3 coming into this one, but their spirit, togetherness, all that has been really impressive this season. They also play some good stuff. They seem to score injury time winners or equalisers every other week, and it wouldn't surprise you if there's late drama again today. Jack Walton, he's talking earlier about 100-minute games being expected now, so put it this way, I've not made any early dinner reservations, but Jim Goodwin, he's a lot to contend with in terms of injuries. Christian Chapanowski, he's been ruled out for a month. Ross Graham, Louis Moult, Craig Sibyl, key players for him, they're still missing, but I think he will look at this game and look at this team he's put out and feel they are good enough to get a result against Ross County. And as Mark said, they could go level in points with Rangers today, but they would need to win by 5 to go above them. As for County, they start the day in 9th. They're unbeaten in the last 3, beating Kelly, drawing with Hibs and St Mirren. I think Don Cowie's done an okay job. He's made them competitive, but scoring goals is a big problem. They've only got 10 in 12 league games so far. They haven't actually won an away league match since last September, over 14 months, but they could go within a point of United with a win today, so there's all to play for. United have made one change from last week's draw at Hibs. Glenn Middleton drops out, Job van der Sande is in. It looks like a 3-5-2 formation. Jack Walton in goals, Emmanuel Adebayoga, Declan Gallagher, Kevin Holt at the back, Ryan Straint, David Babunski, Rico Sevelj, Will Ferry across the middle with Lucas Stevenson in behind Sam Dalby and Job van der Sande. It's also United are Richards, Odada, Middleton, Doherty, Fotheringham, Constable, Thompson, Sturton and Mishak. In terms of Ross County, they have made 3 changes. Josh Reid, Noah Chilvers are out, along with Jack Greaves up front, Ryan Leake, Aidan Dermot and Rowan Hale all come in. That's going to be a 3-5-2 formation as well. Ross Laidlaw in goals with Akil Wright, Casper Lapata and Ryan Leake at the back. James Brown, Josh Nisbet, Aidan Denham, Conor Randall and Eli Campbell across midfield with Jordan White and Ronan Hale in attack. Subs for County are Hamilton, Allardyce, Chilvers, Greaves, Telford, Affetti, Samuel, Brophy and Reid. The referee at Tannadice is John Beaton and the VAR is Gavin Duncan.
You should know the drill, but if not, we will pause there and talk about some of the week's biggest topics when we return. This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp. We're probably all guilty of not taking enough moments in our life to say thank you to someone important, someone who makes a difference. For me, of course, I've got family and friends I can speak to, but what about the family in here? As much as we get nonsense from the likes of Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel on this show, it is really important, seriously, to take a moment and realise the difference having a laugh with your friends can make and escape whatever else is going on. So I'd like to shout out to them both and all the other pundits in the show for keeping me and hopefully you entertained every night. And this month with BetterHelp, it's all about gratitude. So along with the likes of Mark and Daz, the other person we don't get to thank enough is ourselves. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself, because you're listening to the Super Scoreboard podcast. You're obviously already got pretty sound judgment. Remember to tell yourself that there are so many benefits to using BetterHelp for therapy. It's not just for people who've experienced serious trauma in their lives. There are great tips for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries and just be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/SSB. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
I am a dull presentation in a dull office. I am forgettable, boring and everywhere. And I am a Canva presentation for a big, shiny business deal. I am clear, confident and bold. I'm a Canva presentation for a charming soiree, elegant, graceful, like a nice cup of tea on a lovely afternoon.
Me, I'm like a Canva prezzo for a trendy campaign, so hot, so now, so viral.
Choose from thousands of designed presentation templates on Canva. Design against dull.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel in the studio. The top team round the grounds, where they've already given you team news ahead of the 3 o'clock games. One later kick-off to come, and of course 2 big matches tomorrow. So let's, as we always do on a Saturday, look at the week's biggest talking points. And clearly that was Scottish clubs in Europe. David Friel, you will have seen many Celtic performances. Where does that one rank?
I was actually trying to think. I think Mark's maybe doing Gordon Strachan's team a bit of a disservice. I think if you look back at the list of teams that came during that period, Celtic produced some big results, big performances and very impressive performances. I would certainly say it's the best since then, Gordon. I think, you can talk about eye-catching results like Neil Lennon's win over Barcelona and all that, but in terms of just a team being so comfortable in how they played and so commanding against top-class opposition, RB Leipzig are right up at the top of the Bundesliga beside Bayern Munich right now. I think the maturity, the composure, the pace, the physicality, everything Celtic showed on Tuesday night was just outstanding. I think it's everything Brendan Rodgers wanted from his team. He spoke this morning about this vision of what he saw Celtic becoming when he sat down with Callum McGregor in Spain a couple of years ago and spoke about coming back to Celtic, and I think it all came together, and to me that's the standard Celtic have set now going forward, and I think they've put themselves in a great position to go forward in the competition as well.
David, I wasn't being unfair. I know the results that we got in 2007, 8, 9, and they were big games, were great results, and we drew against AC Milan in the last 16. We beat them in the group stages, and Man United we beat, and we drew against Man United in another year, and some big teams, good ones. But I just thought on Tuesday night the level of performance was so different from anything that I'd seen for a long time from a Celtic team, if any. Just the level of control, how quick they were to break things up in their press, but having the confidence to play from the back all the way through a top tier side. Now, I think what goes against, or people think, or some people is having a wee bit of a go at the result, is because it's RB Leipzig. Now, RB Leipzig, football's different now. RB Leipzig spent loads of money, they've got a great product there, they've got a great way of putting together a club. They're not football royalty like a Juventus, a Milan or somebody like that. So maybe people say, oh, it's only RB Leipzig, but they are a top side and Celtic tore them to shreds. So that's why I was so impressed. That's why I'm saying it was above anything that I was involved in or can remember seeing.
I think the game deserves to be seen in isolation and not compared to Barcelona, Juve or any other result. And I believe it deserves to be taken in isolation for one reason. German opposition in this season's Champions League brought humiliation to Celtic. RB Leipzig on Tuesday night brought redemption to Celtic, and it was redemption in the form of a performance of such maturity that I had people texting me, yourself included, Gordon, Duncan, to say, are you watching this? Because no one could quite take in that this was Celtic playing with that level of maturity, that level of assurance, and proving that they can, in spite of all that went on in Dortmund, they can operate at that level of the game.
Do you think there's a level of sort of vindication, Gordon? Do you think Brendan Rodgers in his quiet moments will feel he's vindicated because it was done in his way, if you like? You know, there has been this notion over his first spell, certainly after Dortmund, that to get results in the Champions League, you know, forget this high press, forget that sort of stuff. You're going to need to do something different. He bristles when the word pragmatic is mentioned. You're going to need to do something different. Granted, it was at home, so maybe there's a slightly different emphasis. But I thought it was interesting. He said that the second goal that Celtic scored was one of his favourite goals his Celtic team has ever scored. Now, I know what you're thinking. It wasn't exactly wonderfully eye-catching, but because of the way they won it back, because of the level of opposition, the way they all managed to squeeze it, win it back and then score. And they've scored a lot of goals under Brendan Rodgers. He said that was one of his favourites he's ever seen. Yeah,
it's incredible, isn't it, how a manager can take one goal in isolation and say that's the one. He's probably worked in that, you know what I mean. He's asked his players to go and be hungry, get the ball back. I thought they were absolutely brilliant, Gordon, I've got to say. And I take on board, and Mark's right about the opposition. This is a team that's only lost 5 or 6 goals. They're sitting second in the Bundesliga. I looked at them against Liverpool and I thought, oh, Celtic are in for a real hard time. Second half, to win the game is the most important thing, to get the 3 points, because if Celtic's going to go forward, everybody was talking about their home form. But to add such a classy performance, and I mean classy, because that was great to watch. That was terrific football. It all came together, and I think that's what pleased Brendan Rodgers.
I think it shows the fine lines, right, between Brendan Rodgers' tactics, because in Dortmund he adopted a press that was so high, and you know, Dortmund get out in the first few minutes in the score. But in that Leipzig goal that he says is his favourite goal, Leipzig actually managed just to get out, and their midfield player turns and he's facing forward, but he decides to turn back in, and that's where Celtic nicked the ball. That's the fine lines. If he manages to play that pass through, Celtic have got 5 players in that corner out, and who knows what could have happened. So that's what you're hoping can happen. You know, you force players into making wrong decisions. You sometimes don't always, it doesn't play out. Obviously in Dortmund it didn't play out, and it didn't play out a lot. Atalanta was slightly different, but on Tuesday night everything clicked for Celtic, and they got their rewards for that.
It's the pace of play, Mark. It's the pace that they go at. The minute they get the ball, the movement of Celtic players and the pace and desire, you can see that's a very well coached outfit. And when it all comes together like it did the other night there, it must be, if you're a Celtic fan, brilliant to go and watch.
Where did the performance rank for you, Roger Hannah? Let's not get hysterical. Clearly Celtic have had better results. I don't think there is any doubt they've had better results against better opposition. Performance level, where did it rank?
Oh, I mean, as a performance, Gordon, it's one of the most complete performances by Celtic in Europe of the modern era. Celtic have had great moments in Europe. The boys have discussed a lot on the 4-3 night for a basketball game against Juventus. The Man United night, great moments with the penalty save by Boris, the free kick by Nakamura. Great moments with those late winners against AC Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk. The night, as Hugh's touched on, the moment of Tony Watt's goal off 13% possession. This was different, Gordon. This was a far more controlled performance. You were waiting in the big charge from Leipzig after they went 3-1 down to get back in. Leipzig, the second best team in Germany, couldn't get the ball off Celtic. And I include the likes of Liam Scales off the bench, who looked as composed as anyone, pinging the ball about. This was in the week when Philip Clement talks about using Rangers' win against Motherwell as a reference point. This Leipzig win needs to be the reference point for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic in Europe now. They have shown how they can perform against the continent's elite, and it's not now a case of thinking Celtic can get into this round of 24, if you like, in February. Celtic will be looking to finish as high as they possibly can in this group and maybe get a second leg at home at Celtic Park to battle for a place in the last 16.
Is that kind of the way it does need to be, Fraser? You can't do it every time, but Leipzig spend more money than Celtic, so this habit that we fell into in recent times of sort of shrugging the shoulders and saying, well, if we play richer teams, you're going to get beat, is the other night just a sign that it doesn't have to be that way?
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with everything that's been said. It was a brilliant performance, other than just a 20-minute period in the first half when Leipzig scored on either side of that. They had a wee bit of domination, but apart from that, it was just the level of performance and consistency of performance as well, and that set a bar, and Celtic are far capable of doing that more often now, and I think that's the expectations. I was talking to a pal of mine, a big Celtic fan, who was on his way to the game on Wednesday night, and I said to him, do you think we should expect a bit more from Celtic in Europe? And his answer was yes, and they absolutely got it. And to do it a month after what was a terrible performance and result in Dortmund, and I know Brendan Rodgers bristles a wee bit at the criticism. You're going to get criticism, and he has tweaked certainly away from home, but at home they just went for it, and the crowd were there, the place was rocking, and there was a level of performance by individual players. Kuhn scored a couple of fantastic goals. For me, Hatate was absolutely brilliant, but Callum McGregor is the key man for Celtic. I still think he's the best player in the country. It's just so sad he can't play for Scotland, or he doesn't feel he can, and also play for Celtic. But what a performance by a centre midfield player, the playmaker, the maestro, just moving the ball around, his angle of passing, his pace of passing, the simplicity sometimes he's passing, which is a killer 10-yard pass. It was a wonderful performance by Callum McGregor. But now Celtic play Bruges at home soon, and they've got a real chance. Certainly they should be in the top 20-24, but as Roger says, can they be in the top 16? And when you just look at this new format as well, I don't think they've got too many games that will frighten them in the next 4 games. So brilliant performance by Celtic. What a night for the Celtic supporters.
Come on, Hugh, for the 327th time in your long history in this show, let's do it. Let's just get your humble pie early. That way it was settled before dinner time. Toto and about 92 others have sent me this. Can you please ask Hugh about this quote from your column last year? Kuhn is not just a poor player, he's awful, and he still has 5 years left. 5 years. Who is responsible for these bizarre decisions?
And that's showbiz, folks.
You did go a bit early in that one.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's why people in my role, columnists in newspapers, are there to be shot down when people like the gentleman on social media there can get the full picture. Once Nicholas Kuhn has proved himself to be truly exceptional, and I think probably the next Matt O'Reilly in terms of what Celtic can acquire for a player, then of course we are there to be shot at. I have absolutely no problem with it, none at all. You live by the sword and you perish by the sword. There we go.
He's slowly but surely tucking into his humble pie. Hopefully that satisfies you all. Until next time. There will be a next time, and you know it. Roger, what about Rangers? It's a point in the Europa League, clearly, and it's an important point in the Europa League. Is it more than that? Can it be more than that? It feels like that's what people of a Rangers persuasion would obviously be looking for here. Signs that something is turning, signs that not all is as bad as was feared a couple of weeks ago. Is it as much as that, or is it just a point?
Well, you can have a pop at Hugh all you like for what he said about Nicholas Coon, but what he said about Rangers at the top of the show is the perfect way of summing it up. They are an enigma. Rangers go into Europe and they look transformed in terms of performances individually and collectively. They have a different level of confidence about them in European games. You know, how on earth can they be so much better against Olympiacos, who won the Conference League last season, than they were against, no disrespect Gordon, but Motherwell in the first half at Hampden last week? And you wouldn't know what Rangers are going to turn up for any game. They're playing a very poor Hearts team, second bottom of the league and lost in Europe in midweek. They've got Emma Ibrox tomorrow evening. Will they beat Hearts? You would have a great deal of confidence in them beating Hearts at the minute. What I will say is they should take confidence from the second half against Motherwell and the performance in Greece in midweek. A lot of players, Sean Raskin looks as if he's getting to some sort of level of form. Sterling for Tavernier looked to be a decent change because the captain's dreadfully out of form at the minute. But what they need is to produce that level of performance on a 90-minute basis, week in, week out. Otherwise the question marks will just persist about Philip Clement and his players.
What about James Tavernier? Are Rangers better off without him? I knew that would be the question that would come up after one game where he was left out, Fraser, but you know, it's kind of hard to get away from at least the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was probably appropriate that James just sat out the game and maybe just gets a rest, gets himself back and out of the spotlight and back into form. But I can't believe some of the stick that he's getting from supporters. I have to say, a man who's been the club for so long and through some good times, some bad times, and has been so consistent over a period. Yeah, he's not playing at his best right now, but my goodness me, what short memory supporters have these days, and maybe that's just the world that we live in just now. But I do think it was probably the right decision. I was at the game last Sunday, the semi-final against Motherwell, and he looked like a player without confidence. He was doing things that he wouldn't normally have done. For example, ball played back to him that he'd usually played first time, he's taking a touch, and that's a sign of a player just losing his confidence. And for an away game against Olympiacos, I think Dujon Sterling coming in was the right choice because a more defensive player. But James Tavernier's still got a big role to play for Rangers. But for the Rangers supporters, don't have too short memories. This man's been a wonderful servant and a wonderful player for the football club in recent years.
Yeah, he certainly has contributed, Roger, but in terms of the here and now, I wonder, as an example, does he come back in tomorrow? Because if he does, then it's just bog standard rotation, and if he doesn't, then there's a big decision being made there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how fit Dujon Sterling is. He get taken off. The manager said pre-match he didn't think he would be fit for 90 minutes. He get taken off after 50 in Athens, so I think it would depend how fit he is. Interesting to see it was Casemiro who come on for him rather than Tavernier. I am far from convinced Tavernier will start the game tomorrow. I don't think his form justifies it, Gordon. We said in the show through the week, I've backed James Tavernier a long time. I don't think he's high up in the list of problems at Rangers, but at the minute he's not meriting his place in the team just through form.
What do you think, David Friel? Are they better off without him? It sounds very harsh, but I reference it because these are some of the phrases that were used on last night's show.
Yeah, I think we're just beginning to see the end for James Tavernier at Rangers, to be honest with you, Gordon. I agree with Fraser. I think he's been a great servant. I think he's gave Rangers some great moments. His numbers have been exceptional for years and years, but I think all things come to an end, and for me, he's no longer a first pick at Rangers. I think his recent performances show that, and it was different when Philippe Clement didn't have any alternatives. He's now got two. Dujon Sterling is a right back, Casemiro is a right back, so I think he's now falling down the pecking order, and Rangers have got some big games coming up, including two against Celtic, and we've seen what's happened with Diaz and Maeda against James Tavernier recently. I don't think he starts either of those games as things stand, Gordon. That would be a huge statement if Rangers are going to the cup final and not playing their captain.
If he doesn't get picked for the cup final on December 15 against Celtic, it's the beginning of the end. If he does get picked and he loses, it is definitely the end.
Yeah, I have to agree. Everybody comes to an end, cycles come to an end, and James Tavernier looks like he's getting there. I agree with that with David. The team selection for that game is going to be key because Philippe Clement can spin it in terms of his resting players, and he's got options to come in. But the big one, you pick your best team for that occasion. If he's not in it, then
a lot of football before then, though, Gordon.
Yeah, I can't buy into this. Tavernier's finish scenario, Gordon. What it is quite simple. A guy who's been absolutely brilliant, and I agree with David Friel saying that how good he's been in the past, has lost form. Every player in the world loses form. He deserves to be left out. Of that, there's no doubt, but I still think there's plenty of football left in him.
How do you distinguish it? And granted, we're all predicting, but there is a difference between a temporary loss of form and a decline.
Yeah,
because obviously, if he's 23, then you say, well, maybe he's just out of form and he'll be fine in a month. But naturally, people would. Do you know what I mean? How do you know it's that and not a decline?
Well, we don't know until he gets back in, Gordon.
What makes you think it's that?
The rest might do him the world of good. Taking out the firing line might do the world of good. I think we're just so critical, and especially of Rangers players now. And I'm not sticking up for them, because I said last week they bored me watching them. I thought the European game, they looked a different side. They looked a lot quicker, sharper, everything about them. And you get back to even the goal scorer Dessers. Dessers scored 2 big goals last week. At Hampden, he gets Rangers back into the semi-final. The other night there, he gets the goal that gives him a good point, and probably should have got more. But all they can talk about is the negatives about how many chances does he miss. He's not doing this, he's not doing link-up play. You know, sometimes I think we're too critical of players, and it's the same with Tavernier. He gets blamed for every single thing that happens with Rangers. He's been brilliant for them. People should remember that.
But maybe it's not that deep. Maybe Rangers fans are just looking for the team that gives them the best chance of winning a game. Boil it down to that, right? Because what James Tavernier did in 2018 and 19 and 20 is wonderful, but with the best will in the world, it makes hee-haw difference to tomorrow or the next week or the next week. So is he in Rangers' best starting 11 right now?
Right now, no, and I said that. I says he deserves to be left out. But what I'm not doing is, like a lot of people saying, well, that's him finished. He's come to the end of his career. He's 33 years of age. He probably keeps himself very fit. Yes, his numbers are well down. I've said for weeks upon weeks, and I wasn't surprised he got left out the other night. But we can't just automatically say, right, okay, let's write him off. You've got to give him an opportunity.
It's such a significant talking point, sorry Hugh, because it will be the final piece in the changing of the guard when Tavernier. If you look at all the players that have came and gone, and Philippe Clement's managed to move on a few of them, and Goldson was a big part of that as well. Tavernier's the one constant. It's stayed in there. Now we're seeing him playing less games, and that's why it's such a big talking point, because Rangers fans want to see progress. They want to see a change in everything. But he's the one that's always stood the test of time, and it's come to an end.
The Rangers fans are fed up with the culture of failure at their club. For the last 12 years, it has largely been a culture of failure. Tavernier has been there for 9 years, has won 1 title, 1 Scottish Cup, 1 League Cup. And I think that he is unjustly treated by the Rangers supporters. But that's the nature of football support. The culture of failure, he is associated with that, and that's why he's judged harshly.
Let's knock it on the head for now, because we've got 3 o'clock games and we go back around the grounds next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio, but we've got big games to look forward to. Let's go back to Fir Park, Motherwell against St Johnstone. You touched on it, Roger, but an interesting off-the-field development at Motherwell this week. A new chairman, Kirk McMillan. Let's make Hugh Keevins feel really, really old, because he's just getting to the... he's going through the journey of players being young, and now even managers are half his age. The chairman of Motherwell, 33 years of age.
Blimey. I'll be 75 on Tuesday. That says it all.
It does say it all, Roger Hannah. But big change at Fir Park this week.
Yeah, big change. It's usually Cardigans that are older than the Motherwell chairman now, and it's just that they needed change. They needed, when Jim McMahon stood down, there was a new chief executive appointed in Brian Caldwell. Was doing a very good job at the football club, and they needed a board round about him. So Kirk McMillan has come in as chairman. There will be other changes and additions to the Motherwell board, and I think they now want to almost build for the future. There was the talk of Eric Barmack and the Netflix money coming into the club. The Welsh side Tuesday decided that plan wasn't for them going forward, and they now need to redouble their efforts to bring money into the football club, to secure the future of the football club. Yes, they have a wonderful asset here in Lennon Miller at 18 years of age, captain the team again today, who will be sold for several £1 million at some stage. They've also got young Ewan Wilson, an academy graduate in the team, as I said earlier on. Young John Joe Field, another academy graduate at 16, coming onto the bench for the first time with the first team today. He's being watched, I think, by teams from the English Championship as well during his academy games. So there are players there are saleable assets, but it's important that Motherwell can get a sustainable future that doesn't rely on selling a player every year, that doesn't rely on reaching cup semi-finals like they did at Hampden last Sunday. And I think that's what Brian Caldwell, Kirk McMillan and the rest of the New Look board here will strive to do, Gordon.
Yeah, very interesting story. 33 years of age. He's the CEO of Be Inspired, the fashion brand. His father-in-law's on the board at Hertha Berlin. Quite an interesting tale. But in terms of the playing staff, how do you get away from it, Roger Hanna? Every week for something else. So Lennon Miller, a lot was made about being captain last week. I think by his own admission, it probably wasn't his best performance. Is it anything to do with the captaincy? You'll never really know. He's now going to get a bit of a run at it, where maybe the spotlight comes off that story a little bit, because Stephen O'Donnell and Paul McGinn are nowhere near fitness. And Southampton, the club linked with him this week. What did you make of that?
Well, listen, clubs like Southampton and clubs in England and Italy and Germany and France and wherever you like, Gordon, they're not doing their job if they're not aware of the progress of Lennon Miller. He has been one of the great stories of Scottish football in the last year or 18 months. He didn't have his best game at Hampden last week, but sometimes that happens to 18-year-olds. There was a lot of pressure put on him. I'm not sure he was deployed in his best position, I have to say, at Hampden last week. So interesting, a wee tweak to the team today. Liam Gordon is suspended and it's Tom Sparrow who comes in, so we think Steve Seddon will go to left centre back, Ewan Wilson pushed back out to the left wing back role. Tom Sparrow will come into the midfield, possibly alongside Andy Halliday, and that might let Lennon go on a little bit further to support the front two, get on the ball and try and make things happen for Motherwell. So I don't think the captaincy had anything to do with the performance last week, but he will certainly be looking to lead by example today.
Yeah, back to Easter Road, because everyone's got this built up as being a huge day for David Gray. Fraser, do you think that can cause a sort of nervier performance? How do the players get away from that?
Well, they've got to start the game well, and it's an old cliche, but that's really important when you're out of form. They've only got one home win and 3 draws, and there's 6 games at home so far this season. So if you start well, then the fans will be on your side. If it's 20 minutes and you're not making any headway, you're a goal down, then that's when the nerves start to set in. And there's a lot of new players to Hibs this season. 10 of the 20 that are stripped have come in over the summertime as well. So they're probably coming to Hibs thinking, the top half of the table, challenging for a place in Europe. Now all of a sudden they find themselves at the bottom of the table, and that home win is their only win this season in 11 games. So there's no doubt there's pressure building on this squad. And I think, I said earlier, I think it's the Black Knights, it's Bill Foley factor more than anything else that's going to play a factor and a reason in whether David and Liam get more time. I think if they win, of course they will, but if they lose, there's no doubt they're under real pressure. But they are playing against St Mirren, who, great plaudits, they've done really well the last couple of seasons, just a wee bit shaky this year. They've only got 1 draw away from home in their 5 away games, and they've lost 13 goals in those games as well. So maybe it's a day for Hibs. If they can get a goal, they get on top, get the fans behind them, then they can get the victory. But it's a really tough one to call. I think you can only look at it after 20-25 minutes, see how the game's going before deciding how this game's going to go. So a nervy 90 minutes ahead for everybody in green and white and who supports that club.
Looking at Dundee United, Ross County, David Friel, for the vast majority of this season, scoring goals actually hasn't been a problem for Ross County, but all of a sudden 3 out of their last 4 they've failed to find the back of the net. They obviously go into this on the back of 2 0-0 draws in a row. Just wonder if there are signs that the goals are drying up at a bad time.
Yeah, they certainly have been drying up at a bad time, and it was interesting, I think Ronan Hale has been the kind of most eye-catching forward for County, but he found himself out of the team last week at St Mirren. I don't know whether that was Don Cowie just trying to give him a little Jimmy up, just to say, right, you need to raise your game. He's obviously got a lot of the kind of Northern Ireland stuff going on just now. He's switching from the Republic of Ireland, and that's still up in the air just now. It looks as if it is going to go through, but it might be the turn of the year. But he comes back in today, and I think that front two of Ronan Hale and Jordan White does seem to be their best bet. And they're up against a United team who will give you chances but also carry a threat up the other end as well, Gordon. And County will need to be switched on if they're going to end this horror away run. No away win in the league since last September, because United, beyond the 75-minute mark, over 50% of Dundee United's goals have been scored. I think it's 8. So, they keep going. That says everything about the fitness and the spirit of Jim Goodwin's side. And I think County have switched off at times this season. I've watched them a couple of times, down at Spartans. I remember they just switched off at key moments. I think they've been guilty of that. So Don Cowie will need a complete performance today if he's going to get that win.
Would you like that, Gordon Dale? Would you like David Friel to be the victim of a third consecutive 0-0 draw for Ross County?
Yeah, he's a bit of a jinx, isn't he, for Ross County?
I don't think he was there for them all, to be fair, but
but he doesn't usually get a good game. I'm a bit concerned that he's taken over from Wishart.
Yeah, let's find out what happens this afternoon then, because the scene is set at the 3 Premiership games. There's still one scene left to be set a bit later on, Aberdeen against Dundee, and then of course somewhere down the line we focus on tomorrow as well. But let's get these 3 o'clock Saturday games up and running next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Saturday afternoon, who else would you rather spend it with than Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel? We are here looking ahead to these 3 o'clock kickoffs. So come on then, there are only 3 of them in the Premiership. What does your make-believe hypothetical ACCA look like this afternoon?
It looks to me like a Motherwell home win over St Johnstone, Hibs and St Mirren, a draw, and Dundee United to beat Ross County.
3 home wins and a draw for me. The 3 home wins will be Hibs will beat St Mirren, Motherwell will beat St Johnstone, and Aberdeen. Aberdeen. Okay, there'll be a draw at Tannadice.
I'm going Motherwell St Johnstone draw, Hibs St Mirren draw, Dundee United Ross County home win.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Right, there we are. This feels more familiar. Up and running at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. We're back with league action, looking ahead to games later tomorrow, seeing what else comes across our radar throughout the course of the afternoon. There is so much out there, so do stay in touch on Twitter all day at Clyde SSB. It'll give you some teasers to get your teeth stuck into as well, and of course a bit later on, your chance to have your say when we open the phone lines. I like how this became just like a novelty, a one-off thing where we thought let's pretend to play that game where whoever scores first in Scotland, that's where you two go to on your Christmas night out.
Scored.
And we'll practice it for your Christmas night out. But we now do it every week. And are you actually going to?
Well, I've come up with an alternative means of travel. By the way, it was only this week I discovered.
Helicopter?
Well, Coast 2. You know the seaplane that goes up Loch Lomond?
Yeah.
You can actually Uber that.
to Clydebank, to the wee.
You can take
the burn
to go anywhere.
It's not going to land in the car park here, though.
No, but it's a seaplane that can land in the canal or the Clyde, right?
I'm
just thinking
the Clyde, not quite frankly.
And then if it's Elgin or something, 15 minutes up the road.
You're sending me out with this guy.
I'm thinking the Loch Lomond seaplane will not land in the canal outside this building.
Maybe a bit narrow, but we'll take the old John Brown shipyards just down the road.
That's called the River Clyde.
I done at the Clyde. It can land there, right? We'll jump on. There you go.
Okay.
So if it's anywhere up north, is the company actually covering the cost? Because it's not the cheapest.
First round, I think. First round of drinks they'll cover. So we'll see. Let's just practice again and we'll pick. Producer John behind the scenes is actually trying to get me to commit to picking a date for you two to.
When is it?
I don't know. That's the thing. I thought I'd run it past you first.
I want to dress up when I come in. I don't want to be caught.
We're not going fancy dress. That's the one thing I hated. See, Christmas night out with the lads and you're away in Liverpool or Manchester, but one of the nights is fancy dress. Oh,
nah,
terrible.
What did you dress up as? Football player?
No, I dressed up. I remember we went with Celtic one time. We were in Liverpool and we had a fairly lively Saturday night, and then the Sunday hadn't really stopped for the Saturday night. Me and Paddy, I dressed up as Elvis, he was Banana Man, and the two of us were sitting in the Cavern Club.
This is Paddy McCourt.
He was Banana Man with a mask on, and we were worse for wear. Dreadful situation to be in.
Well, listen, you'd rather be out with Gordon Dalziel, I'm absolutely sure. Let's do this, Hugh, and give it maximum time.
Okay.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
in honour of the fact Motherwell have got a 33-year-old chairman. We've got an ageist question here. Tell me the 7 players 33 years and older who have scored in the Scottish Premiership this season. Tell me the 7 players 33 years old and older who have scored in the Scottish Premiership this season.
Just to be clear, they had to be 33 or older when they scored.
Yeah.
So we might need to put a wee asterisk when we put that question on social media. So the players had to be 33 or older when they scored. Can you name the 7 players who've done that in the Premiership this season? At Clyde SSB. It is a race. You have to get all the correct answers on one tweet and send them over quicker than everyone else. Let's go.
This is frightening. I was 42 years old when your chairman was born.
Ooh.
That's a worry.
You were what? Sorry, 42?
When he was born.
You're quite old.
You're ancient.
Yeah.
That is quite a sobering thought. I'll tell you what my favourite story of the day is so far, and I hope that Scottish football can really outdo this, but it's loosely linked to us. Ever heard of a player called Justin Devaney?
No.
Nope.
Who does he play for?
No.
Was in Kilmarnock's academy, then got loaned out to Broomhill in the Lowland League. Just last season he played for Airdrie, and he's starting for Crystal Palace in the English Premier League today.
Really? An interesting journey that is for him.
Young, I take it.
21.
What a jump that is.
Yeah.
Incredible, isn't it?
Good luck to him.
He's like I say, I think he was kind of born
Oh,
here.
look where we're going.
Montrose.
Get the plane fired up.
Montrose 1 or both 0. Pack your bags, Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson.
That's an overnight.
Have you ever been to Montrose? You would have been.
I've played him in
I've only got
a bit of a journey.
I've only got a couple of the 42 that I haven't been to, but that is one of them.
That's
I've never
one.
been to.
Not
Lens
much
Park.
happening in Montrose.
Scored a hat-trick there, mate.
Did you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Justin Devaney, I think he was born here. I'm not sure, but anyway, he does represent Northern Ireland under 21s.
Well done to you, young man.
Quite incredible, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think he was signed by Palace. Obviously, it was a sort of youth player essentially, but from that level, yeah, I think he played for Airdrie at the start of last season. It's madness, isn't it?
Crazy.
It's called meteoric rise.
You never know
what Airdrie sold him, did they? And recoup some money, yeah.
That's why we live in hope, Mark. You never know what's round the corner. Maybe a bigger radio station will come in for us.
There is none bigger than this. This is the biggest.
Down in London.
One would have to exist first.
Our own show.
So is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah,
out of life?
breakfast show.
You're aiming too low. I'm hoping that
What are you hoping for?
my lottery numbers come in. I don't need to ever see yous again.
Yeah, there we are. August last year, he played for Airdrie against Partick Thistle. And just over it came on actually. He was on the bench until the 86th minute.
Now he's playing the Premier League.
He's starting in the English Premier League today.
Fantastic.
Great
Probably
story.
on the same wages.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he is. Maybe a slight upturn.
Which position does he play, God?
That I am not 100% sure on, I must say. Someone more educated than me
If you're
can
having a fairy tale story, you
fill
might
it
as
in.
well go the whole hog and score for Crystal
Oh,
Palace.
why not? Do something mad anyway. I mean, it says midfielder here on
I'm going to say a defensive
what I'm looking
midfielder.
at, but there we go.
Do you know him, Mark? No.
No.
Never seen him. No.
Yeah, midfielder Fraser Wishart confirming I did think that, but there we go. Anyway, we're up and running in the 3 o'clock games. No goals yet in our featured matches. In our dress rehearsal, Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson are going to Montrose on their Christmas night out because they've scored first against Arbroath, and it's that experienced campaigner Paul Watson who's got the goal after just 4 minutes. Hugh Keevins is up and running with his teaser as well, so you should be settled in nicely to this Saturday afternoon.
We've had a stab at it. We're
doing okay.
4.
The old teaser, have you?
Hugh will tell us though, that, like he usually does, that
4 out of 4, Hugh.
No, you haven't got any.
What?
So again, worth remembering,
it's our worst start.
these players had to be 33 or older when they scored the goal, because there's one very high profile, shall we say, example, who is now 33 and has scored in the Scottish Premiership this season, but wasn't 33
when he scored
the goal. Okay.
How can we not have one of them? Because I heard Gordon telling you the answer.
Oh, so you're outing yourself as a cheat now, are you?
That's not cheating. That's listening, paying attention.
Which one?
Do you want me to say it?
Go on then.
Nicky Clark.
Well, I mean, we've got a slight issue in that he might be on that list, so I think you've given a wee freebie.
Hold
Get up and running.
It's just nicked his big Woody.
There you go. Have a freebie on us. Nicky Clark's on the list. Do the rest. Partick Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 0.
A man, it's over 33.
Yeah, certainly is. Brian Graham, friend of the show, has scored after 6 minutes. He used to play for Wraith, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that they give him a bit of stick. I know most places do.
Most do,
I think he likes that one.
Yeah,
I think he likes that.
He'll have enjoyed that.
There will be no Andy Halliday celebration there. I think he'll
No.
run for that.
Brian celebrates every goal, especially today. But he's on fire, the big man, and so Thistle, because it was a ropey start to the season. But
Well,
3 in the bounce.
I wish Partick Thistle well, because Falkirk, and all credit to them, have built up a nice little lead at the top here. But I think we need, if Falkirk don't get automatic promotion and someone's going to take their place at the top, it'll have to be better quality than we saw last night. The Morton Ayr 1-1 draw at Capital.
How bad was that?
Low in quality.
I would never have happened under Marion.
Dundee United started well in that game at Tannadice. Just a bit of early pressure. Graham Carey goes just wide. One of those, is it a cross, is it a shot? But anyway, just wide. Bright start by St Johnstone as well. Bit of reshuffling from Hibs, of course. They don't have a recognised number 9. Eli Yuan playing as a striker. Martin Boyle wide right. Spain won the Euros without a striker, did they not?
Yeah.
Way back. Remember, that was the
Remember Levine?
first time you sort of saw it.
Remember Levine?
That's a
played
very,
with
that's a very
striker
different,
against
that's a
Slaughter?
different example, I would say.
Yeah, but get slaughtered for it.
The thing about Hibs, all the hard luck stories, the last minute goal that Hearts got at Easter Road, the penalty decision last week that went against Hibs, all the hard luck stories don't buy you sympathy while you're at the bottom of the league. They need to get off the top, need to beat St Mirren today, and if they do beat St Mirren, they're then only 1 point behind St Mirren. But they need to stop the sequence of misery.
Did you see that? That was the only decision from last week that the KMI panel reckoned that the officials got wrong. I don't think that Hibs should have had that penalty go against them in the game against Dundee United.
I don't know, is there much point to this panel?
Well, everyone's always banged on about accountability and explaining. I think it depends what your starting point is. If you're daft enough to think that you won't ever get mistakes, fine, but once you accept that you are going to, then you might as well handle them in the right way. I think that's clearly the
Who's on that
process.
panel, Gordon? Do you know?
I think it's
like ex-players and so on.
I was going to say it's a panel that nobody really knows who's on it, who then comes out and says what the referees got wrong, but then nothing's been done about it.
What does that mean? What you want? You want them paraded down the high street?
No, I just don't want anything. Why have I got it?
Because when it's no there, people complain that there's no accountability, or there's no, not accountability, but there's no sort of explanation, or there's no analysis, or no admission when things go wrong. You can't have it both ways.
But what explanation is? Be well listening to a show and us saying that was
a
a wrong decision. But how do we know these people? We don't even know who these people are.
Oh, I know some of them.
Well,
educated. I'm surprised you haven't been asked. People like you.
I'd love to see the Dazzler on a panel. I think he could bring Scottish football to a standstill.
You think so, Hugh?
Yeah.
It's, I'm looking to further my career.
Yeah.
I'm looking at pantomime next year.
Second time he's raised it. He's trying to get that offer. It clearly didn't come the
By
last
the way,
time.
I didn't raise it last week, did we?
Yeah, you spoke about it
off
before.
air. We did.
No, we did. We did.
No,
on
did
air.
we do it on air?
No, we didn't.
Did we not?
I think we were
I'm
going
throwing it out there to all
Right.
the production team.
If
the
anyone's
Kings.
listening, Gordon Dalziel thinks he's famous enough now and would like to be in Panto. He's probably missed the boat for this year. Fine. Can we arrange it for the future? Right, done. Move on. Cove Rangers 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 0. Scorer of many goals in the lower leagues, one of the best in the business at that. Mitch Megginson after 10 minutes, and it was just a grim time all round. Obviously for Inverness Cally Thistle.
It's just a slow, tortuous fall into the bottom league for Inverness Cally Thistle, and they have to hope that investment comes in and that they actually remain as an SPFL club.
Yeah, a bad start on the pitch today, although Cove Rangers been going pretty well recently, so perhaps no surprises there. Annan 0, Stenhousemuir 1. Matt Yates with the goal there on 8 minutes. Gordon Dale's taking this teaser seriously. I can see him googling things.
No, we Google someone's age. That's all we done.
The last time you googled something and showed it to Mark Wilson, it was not a player's age, let me tell you. But
No.
I'm glad you've got your Eyes on the prize.
And I'm glad Mark's over 18
today.
Yes. Hughes just gave us a thumbs up there.
Does it get 7?
No,
We get
3. 3 because the first 4 were wrong.
All right, okay.
And we
It's a
gave you a
good
freebie.
question.
Dalby and Babinski combining for Dundee United. Header goes wide in the end though, so still no goals in our featured 3 o'clock games. Hugh, you're always one for sticking your neck on the line with outrageous predictions. You did say to the guys off air you don't think we'll get a goal in the first half of any of our Premiership games this afternoon, is that right?
The 3 o'clock kickoffs, I'm sceptical that we'll get a goal.
Just great, because we've got a show to fill, so if they could, that would be
Gotta go.
lovely. That would be absolutely lovely. David Friel is
a bad game.
No, he's guaranteeing goals, he says.
Oh yeah.
Where is he today?
Tannadice.
Yeah, I think David will get goals.
Bonnie Rigrose 1, Elgin City 0, Angus Mailer on 15 minutes. So the goals are going in down the leagues, just nothing in our 3 featured matches so far. I did tell you that Partick Thistle goal in the Championship, which is quite a big one.
You surely today, Falkirk top, Airdrie bottom. Surely Falkirk at home, given the crowds they get, they'll rattle in a few.
Not about rattling in a few, but get the 3 points and keep that lead.
Well, there's a lull and no goals. Did anyone see the poster at reception when you came in this morning?
Sorry.
Public service announcement here. There is a poster that I took a photo of when we come in. Now, there's usually some leaflets, you know, you've seen them, cafe, new restaurant.
What is it?
Reward missing African grey parrot.
I did see that, so maybe we could do our bit here. Can we get this parrot
let's be
back to
helpful.
its rightful owner?
And there's 3 pictures of the parrot, just in case one wasn't enough. A couple of them are in black and white, so that doesn't do much good. But
I thought you said it was grey anyway.
A parrot?
Of course,
So
but
it's
what
grey.
colour are grey? You know,
Dark
is
grey,
it dark
it's
grey?
always-
Its
parrots are
name
always
is
dark grey.
Cece. It's 1, and it's a female.
Look at Animal Rescue over here, what's happened?
So if
He's just taking this upon himself to throw this appeal out there.
Somebody's lost a pirate. So there you go. I thought that was weird.
Real drama in the Clydebank area this week.
Great.
There's
Looking for a parrot.
There's a pirate on the list.
There's a pirate missing a parrot. There you are.
I can't believe at your age you're walking in taking photos of that.
Is there an
Did you
age
see
limit
it?
on that sort of stuff?
Oh, behave. Who would? Did you notice
Well,
it?
hold on.
I did notice it, yeah, but I
When was the
didn't-
last time you seen a poster for a missing parrot?
I've never seen it. I don't
Exactly.
didn't even see
There
that
you
one.
go. So why would you not take a picture of it?
I think it was the fact that the cage was sitting there empty.
We do need a goal, Hugh. That's
Oh,
become
desperately.
Seen a couple of foxes with feathers hanging at Smith outside right now.
I'm now finding myself thinking on how you actually capture a missing parrot. How do you?
What did he eat?
You entice it with food. No.
There you go. David Attenborough himself. You entice it with food.
Some sort of nuts or something they eat.
saw him in the telly the other. I didn't realise he was 98.
Oh, he's doing well, isn't he?
Who?
Well, David Attenborough.
David, is he?
He's
98?
back every Sunday night. Attenborough's back.
I knew he'd put in a fair shift, but I didn't know he was that age. Anyway, Neil Brown says Dazzler wouldn't make it in Panto because he couldn't even stay on his seat while in costume this week.
But hold on a minute. That would bring the house down with the kids would love that. The chicken falling off his seat, laying an egg at the same time.
I need to break it to my grandchildren. We're going to see Uncle Daz next year.
I'll get you all tickets, boys.
A frightening
How
thought.
good would that
I
be?
think you've got a future in it.
Well,
I do.
you know what I mean. I'm out there. I'm willing to give my services.
You're certainly out there. Yeah, that's true.
Big
You know,
dame, get the wig on you, the big
sitting,
frock.
I'm sitting back watching, obviously, the career that Fraser's having on Netflix just now, and I'm thinking, well, I could get a wee bit of that on the pantomime.
Please, somebody score. End this misery right now.
Has he text you privately about that? Has he deleted your number?
He's loving that. He's getting a lot of publicity. That for us.
This cannot go on
corporates.
any longer. We're keeping an eye on all the Scotland games. Of course we are. All the Scottish games, I should say. We're keeping an eye on Crystal Palace all of a sudden, aren't we? We're now with Crystal Palace fans today to see what
Would it be if he scored?
I think that's an amazing story. Really is.
It truly is. I really do hope.
And why haven't I heard
Justin Devaney scores?
Heard about that before? Because it's usually something
Should've.
we
Should have just
we
had your finger
champion,
on the
don't we?
pulse.
Any young player goes down south.
You've missed that one, I'm afraid. Whilst there is a bit of a lull, let's kind of nod just slightly, well kind of towards tomorrow, or maybe a bit back on the other night. I want to get your thoughts on this comment from Cyril Dessers, because we put this on our social media feeds, and it got a lot of views, as the kids would say, Hugh Keevins.
Yep.
Lots of debates, lots of comments made. So I wonder how you three feel about it.
I was watching the Champions League this week, and I see unbelievable strikers miss chances. So who am I as Cyril Dustis to not miss chances? Obviously, you're always gonna miss more than you score. That's life of a striker. You know that there will always be a perception about that, but yeah, that's the life. If I would score 3 chances every game, then I would probably not be at Rangers either. But that's life, and you just have to keep going, never give up as a team, individual, and you just need to be ready for the next one. And that's what I did today. That's what we did as a team as well. Even after the setback, we came back, and that's then I think we can be very proud with our performance.
I think he's perfectly entitled to make those comments. He's been very honest with himself, and he's quite right to highlight the fact that no one scores all of the time. His problem for me seems to be that the early chance that came up against Olympiacos, he should have scored and didn't, but he then starts to score after he's missed a couple.
Let's get back to it, because this is important.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I can just imagine the mood. Hibs 0, St Mirren 1. Conor McMenamin been speaking about his injuries and how frustrating it's been back in the team and scoring goals. Hibs 0, St Mirren 1.
As I said, hard luck stories don't buy you sympathy. There will be no sympathy. I don't care what the goal looked like, I don't care the circumstances, I don't care if Hibs were on top from minute 1 until McMenamin scored in the 16th minute. It's a bad turn of events for David Gray, and he better get out of it or else.
It's not a surprise, really, them falling behind. 16 goals already conceded this year. Clouds are gathering over Easter Road, and coming up to an international break, that's always dangerous, but they've got a long time to get themselves out of it. So I don't think Hibs fans will be shocked at that.
They'll not be shocked, but they'll certainly not be happy. I think there'll be more goals there. I think Hibs can leak goals. I think St Mirren are in the same. They're dropped down to 7th. So I still think there'll be plenty of goals. It could be twists and turns, but Hibs certainly need to get the next goal.
St Mirren have won 1 of the last 5 games. You know, you cannot put that down as any form of hard luck story where Hibs are concerned. They're playing a bang average St Mirren, and they're trailing at home. That kind of run cannot go on indefinitely, and they've got to get out of it this afternoon. If they lose at home, could be trouble over the weekend.
Yeah, go back to that Cyril Dessers one for me.
Yep.
Him saying, if I could score all 3 chances, I wouldn't be at Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a fine line. I think each one of us can say that because it's true. I think when you're a Rangers player...
Hold on a minute, I don't mind being interrupted by goals.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Motherwell 1, St Johnstone 0. Tawanda Maswanisi back post header from Caleta's cross. It was against the run of play. Don't think that matters too much to the home fans. It started in the own half. Miller to Seddon, long ball to Caleta, into the box, and there was Tawanda Maswanisi. Motherwell 1, St Johnstone 0.
I thought Maswanisi looked slightly under par against Rangers in the cup tie last weekend, but he had scored 2 goals in the league game which preceded that, and now he scored in the one which has followed that semi-final. So he is starting well at Motherwell. Simo Valakari has a fight on his hands.
Our predictions went down well, Hugh.
Yeah.
Lasted
20 minutes.
Yeah, but you see, I throw things out there.
You do.
You two talk about catching parrots. I throw things out there.
I think it's called opening your mouth and letting your belly rumble. I think that's a statement for it.
Well, when you're 75 and you're still making a living, come back and tell me.
Oh, like this.
There you go.
Shoot back on, Dad.
Good to see it hasn't annoyed him.
Well,
That's
you
his
made
panto,
the
isn't
candy I've made. Come back and
Oh, what do you think of that, Hugh?
No, that was him saying that.
No, he's talking about me.
No, he says when you've made the candy I have.
No, I'm talking about him.
Paraphrasing Hugh.
I thought you were.
No.
I thought you were talking.
There's only one man made a life-changing living out of this show. It's that guy.
He's married 3 daughters and he's only got 2.
Radio Clyde has paid for my 2 daughters' weddings. There you are.
Anyway,
I'd love
Cyril Dessers will get interrupted again, which is fine.
I think again Dessers is only being truthful there, because the minute somebody hits peak form at Celtic or Rangers, Matt O'Reilly, whoever you want to cite, They're out of here, and for big money.
What do you make of Mark's point? I wonder if that is it. It's just a kind of subtle thing that's the type of comment that other people can say about you and it becomes true.
Yeah.
But once you say it about yourself, it just hits a bit different. I don't, because like I say, you're right, and sort of to us, Cyril Dessers only scores X amount of chances, that's why he's at Rangers. And maybe I shouldn't be swayed by social media, but we put that clip up, nearly 500,000 people have watched it. It seems like,
is it all negative?
People think, it feels like a lot of people think that's a big deal. What about Mark's point?
In what sense do they think it's a big deal?
Just a kind of weird mentality.
Of course.
Is that not something other people say about you? Like, because what do we say, right? People always say, oh, if Dyson Maeda could cross the ball, he'd be in the English Premier League. But if he was to go, what am I like? If only I could cross the ball, I would be at a bigger club. It would be weird, wouldn't it?
I still think that Dessers is speaking the truth on both counts. And if you don't like the answer, then you're not thinking it through.
But I don't think any player would say that. If you take a player for the Premier League down south at the bottom half of the table and say, if I scored every chance, let's be honest, I would be at Man City. Those fan bases wouldn't like it either. When you're at Rangers and Celtic, it's completely, exaggerated even further. So of course you can't say that.
I'm not buying that. I'm not. I don't think that's such a massive deal. I think I'm sort of sliding towards Hugh here. I think he's been honest in his interview. He's talking. He's obviously knows that he gets a bit of stick for the chances he misses, and he's correct. Every striker misses chances. The greatest one was Alan McCoy's, missed chance after chance after chance, but always found the back in it.
So what Hugh said,
and I'm not comparing Alan McCoy's with Dessers before we get started. What I'm saying is, right, whether you think that's right or wrong, I don't think that's such a big deal to make such a big.
But when McCoy said that, if I scored every chance, I wouldn't be at Rangers. Of course he wouldn't.
The people who do seem to have an issue with it, I can't really say I'm necessarily one of them. I just like to watch the reaction coming in. Is that there's this is it not him essentially saying, if I was any good, I wouldn't be here? Is that too much of a stretch? Is that not what that phrase means?
No, he's not necessarily demeaning the club. He's, for me, telling you the facts of life. The best players aren't in this country.
I know that, but that's what I mean. Is that where it's fine, as Mark says, from the outside? But if you're in it, you're saying the reason I'm here is because I'm limited. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're saying that about yourself.
I've said the same comment that he said on this show about Dessers, and that is fine because we all know that's reality. I agree with you, Gordon. Saying that about yourself, I think it does disrespect the place you're at.
No, it does not. That's nonsense. And plus the fact, let me tell you now, see if Dessers says anything, he'll come in for a bit of criticism from Rangers. He can't do right for long.
I've said a million times, I really like he's probably both halves of Glasgow, but if you want to limit it to Rangers, he's the best player to interview by a mile. Love it. I really enjoy the experience. I'm just saying that it's clearly got a big reaction there. So I don't think we can then sit there and say you're all wrong to react in that way.
I'm not saying they're all wrong. I'm giving my opinion on it.
If it stirs that reaction in people.
Supporters reserve the right to conduct themselves however they feel. Last Sunday at Hampden, James Tavernier was booed every time he touched the ball. There was one particularly awful cross which apparently brought a storm of protest from the crowd. He's been there for 9 years. He's the captain, and they slaughter him. So if a player draws attention to some of his attributes not being as good as others in other countries, I think that's fair enough.
The biggest problem is, see Dessers, when he scores goals, nobody talks about his goals. They talk about the chances he misses. It's always on the negative side of it for him. I don't know why. Because sometimes
you don't know why. Do you watch? No offence.
What I'm going to say is, at times he is a very frustrating player.
That's why then.
Right, but he's there to score goals. If you're a Rangers number 9, you're there to score goals. That's why Alan McCoy was such a successful guy, a legend at the club. Derek Johnston, legends at the club. They weren't the greatest build-up players. They were goal scorers. They scored goals. Dessers, when he scores in the semi-final, brings him back into the game, and probably goes on and wins the semi-final. Gets it right. What's the first reaction? Dessers. What about the chances he missed? Right, fine.
So you don't think that's valid criticism?
The other night, no, but I think you've got to give him a pat in the back.
That's fine. So
it's all criticism.
So you don't think it's valid to point out the chances missed?
I think every striker misses chances
to the same extent he does.
Well, you don't see every striker
or no,
every
and
week.
Then we can move on.
I don't think he's up there in the himself alone going, oh, he's the one that misses all the chances, apart from he gets an odd goal. He scores important goals. He scored 2 important goals Sunday and Thursday. True or false?
Oh, true for sure.
Right. But nobody comes on here and talks about the importance of the goal, how good the goal was, X, Y, and Z. Right? They talk about, oh, what about the chances he misses?
So the Rangers fans,
Everybody does
the
it.
Rangers fans that pay all their hard earned to go and are really frustrated, they're just talking nonsense.
I'm
then.
not saying that. That's their opinion. My opinion's different. Is that I don't need to agree with that opinion. My opinion's completely different.
But you're acting as if you can't even see where the frustration comes from.
I can see the fact that, by the way, Dessers will be frustrated. I was a striker that missed chances as well.
Dessers doesn't. This is
there's
the point.
nothing worse than
Here's
missing
the core
chances.
point to remind you about what we're actually talking about. The Rangers fans who are complaining are suggesting that a guy who says, if I was better at finishing I wouldn't be here, isn't as frustrated as they
he
are.
says if he scored 3 goals
you know
every time.
It's the same point.
And he's only telling the truth. If he scored a hat-trick every week, he wouldn't be at Rangers. Big clubs would come in and take him.
I think he should have put it better. I think he meant well. I think
the core point, you understand it.
I think he meant well, but I'm thinking of Brian Graham for Partick Thistle. He comes out the day and says, you know, if I could put 2 or 3 in the back of the net, I wouldn't be at Thistle. You think Thistle fans would be happy with that?
It's the difference between journalism and fans.
I'd be in the top flight. I wouldn't be hanging about with you Scuddies in the Championship.
Exactly.
You've just said Gordon is the best Rangers player to interview, or the best player in the league to interview, whatever. It's the difference between a journalist saying what a great quote that is, and a fan saying how dare he say that. That's the difference.
Do you think he's been disrespectful with saying that?
No, I don't.
I don't think that's the right word though either.
I said that, but maybe I've got that wrong. I think he's just been, he's just misjudged that comment.
If he had said,
I think his points.
If he had
right,
said,
but
what a club this is, they bought me, then that would be a different twist on it. But Rangers did buy him.
I think in life there are loads of things that other people can say about you, and then when you say them about yourself, it just becomes a bit weird. I think that's all it is. It doesn't need to be huge. Like I say, it doesn't need to be about disrespect or about big deep stuff. I just think sometimes there are certain comments that are left best for other people to say.
I just wouldn't get caught up in it. I don't even think it's worth the argument.
So I mean, because that is the best example I think you can find from the other side of the city, because we do say it all the time. We watch Maeda press the life out of everyone. He scoops across into the stands, and we all say, if he could cross the ball, what level would he be at? But again,
who was your manager at Rangers again?
Jock Wallace and John Gregg, respectively.
John Gregg, if you'd come out and said that, you know what, see if I could put a couple away, I wouldn't be here. You think you'd be pulled into the manager's office with one of them?
Absolutely no chance, no. He would pat me in the back for being up front.
I'd punch you in the midriff. No. You've told me.
He would say, I respect your comments, and you're correct, Mr. Dalziel. As Falkirk go 1-up
and
against
who is it that scored? It's that man.
Adam,
the right back last week, Keelan Adams.
Yeah, the Cumbernauld Colt,
signed from the Lowland League. Was it this week he got a new contract, or last week? I think certainly very recently Keelan Adams signed from the Lowland League, now flying high at the top of the Championship. Falkirk beating Airdrie by 1-0. Let's remind ourselves of your teaser, please, Hugh.
Tell me, there are 7 players 33 years of age and older who have scored in the Scottish Premiership this season. Who are they?
Okay, I can see some good answers coming in at Clyde SSB. Remember, you have to get them all, which can be the challenge, clearly. A common wrong one, because this is why I was very clear in the wording. Andy Halliday.
Yeah.
He's 33 now.
At the time of scoring.
Not when he scored in the Premiership this season. Okay. What about his teammate Jamie Dock would like to throw in Paul McGinn?
Well,
oh, he is on the list. Sorry, I'm making a mistake.
There's another freebie for you.
Do you know what it was? I was too busy reading the tweet slaughtering Gordon Dalziel for his take on that Dessers thing.
Oh, they don't like your opinion.
TN72 Rangers fan, DLS well off. If Dessers was in any way competent, we'd have been clear of Motherwell and Olympiacos before we had to equalise.
That's not the argument.
He's either totally disrespectful or totally bone idle, says TN72.
That's not even an argument.
You're never going to
or whatever your name is.
You're never going to convince fans that what he said is anything other than demeaning.
Eli Campbell's had a shot over the bar for Ross County. Still no goals in that one. We do have one for Motherwell against St Johnstone there, 1-1, and Hibs crucially. Always talk about good. Maybe it's Hibs' turn though to do something dramatic late on in a game and spin it the other way for once.
It had better be, because the weekend before the international break gets people trigger happy.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 0, St Mirren 2, and it's a double for Connor McMenamin. As I said, he's been frustrated at the injuries at the start of the season. He's certainly got the bit between his teeth today. We're at the half hour mark. It's Hibs 0, St Mirren 2. Fraser Wishart can tell us the current mood inside Easter Road. He robbed Warren O'Hara 30 yards from goal. He ran through, fired it high into the net as well. So it's a very, very bad afternoon so far for Hibs, on an afternoon that we said they probably couldn't afford loud boos ringing around Easter Road.
We won't be able to hear Fraser Wishart for the sound of the crowd noise. If this gets any worse, then I'm very much afraid it falls into the category of keep your eye on Easter Road the next 24, 48 hours.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And we've got a second goal as well for Motherwell. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0. Remember, Tawanda Maswanisi had the home side in front with the first. They've now added to their tally Simo Valakari back at Fir Park, where he spent 4 years as a player, but it's not going too well for him. It was a ball to the back post and it was finished by Tom Sparrow. Back into the team today from the start. 34 gone. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0. Tom Sparrow sounds a bit like the pirate that Mark was trying to find earlier.
I was just going to say, there's a parrot missing and there's a sparrow that's turned up at Fir Park.
Brilliant, great start from Motherwell, especially after last week at semi-final. I didn't think they really turned up. You know what I mean? I thought they were poor in a lot of departments, but look, bread and butter were back 2-0 up. That's 3 points in the bag.
Should have actually scored moments earlier. Joshua Ray made the save from your man. Go on, you were both practicing it. First name as well.
Apostolos Stamatopoulos. Stamatopoulos.
Right, say it so we know.
You give it a go first.
No, Apostolatos.
No.
Stamatopoulos.
Are you serious?
Apostolos Stamatopoulos.
Stamatopoulos.
I can't say it. I can't say it. On.
St Johnstone are actually
number 9.
St Johnstone
Stama
look good, but they're actually just really shaky at the back. So that's a real frustration, I'm sure, for Simo Valakari. But Motherwell 2 up, and as much as Gordon and I and others would be pleased, I think just more significantly in terms of knock-on effects, St Mirren being 2-0 up at Easter Road just past the half hour mark, that has the potential to become a pretty ugly sight all round, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it has that potential. You're absolutely right. Things come to an end, I tend to find, in a dramatic fashion. And by dramatic fashion, I mean that you take a heavy beating at home in the midst of what's been going on at Easter Road. And by what's going on, I mean the club is bottom of the table and 1/3 of the season is now over. So if this gets any more dramatic in favour of St Mirren and at Hibs' expense, you need to watch Easter Road next 24 to 48 hours.
I mean, still time to turn around, obviously, Gordon, as well. But if you were a Hibs fan, I don't think you would be feeling too calm about that prospect.
No, I think they'll be a bit upset, Gordon. The one thing we know for sure, they'll need to get the next goal to give them any hope at all. I was actually, believe it or not, and I know you won't, I was speaking to Alex the other day there, Thursday at the school gates, and he was saying
Alex now, is it?
Yeah, we're really close.
Alex Gogic, for those who don't know.
Yeah, and he was saying that they were very confident through there. They'd worked hard all week and they fancied their chances if they could get the first goal and put a bit of pressure on Hibs, and that's what they've certainly done.
He's slipped into serious mode because that sounded believable.
Do you know, that is 100%.
What, they've worked really hard on things, and if they can get the first goal, he didn't say that to you.
And it put a bit of pressure on the Hibs, that's what he said. And I said, Alex, you're 100% right. I do agree with you.
There's a team that needs an upturn. Spartans 4-0. The Spartans 2. Brogan Walls with the goal. Really needing a bit of an upturn.
I've just realised why these two are chuntering on about pantos and lost parrots. They've got a big box of chocolates in front of them and they've been dipping in there all day. They've got
hyper
heroes. Yeah,
keep it
going.
It's a wee bit of Calpol they need.
Wait till tomorrow. There'll be none left.
Yeah, 6-hour Sunday evening show is a new one for us tomorrow.
Well, we're expecting our Sunday roast delivered here in front of us.
Any companies out there want to deliver a Sunday roast to us tomorrow?
Of course
you know
there will
where
be.
we are. Come on,
There will be.
Keep the boys happy.
Somebody may send us food, surely.
2 until 8 on a Saturday.
Sunday. Somebody out there listening.
We love it. Come on, we love it. You know it.
Yeah.
At Motherwell looking like they could score every time they go forward now. So it's amazing what happens. A couple of goals and things are really.
That's a new chairman
shifts.
bounce.
You think so?
Yeah, that's a new chairman bounce.
You think he'll be in the dressing room, one of those chairmen, or in the background?
Surely not.
Is there anyone in the team who's
old
older
enough to
than,
be a ball boy?
older than the chairman? Who's your oldest
Andy.
player?
Is Andy not? What did you say? 33.
Andy's just turned 33, so he would be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, Paul McGinn must be. No, O'Donnell.
But he's not playing.
Stephen O'Donnell.
Yeah, he'll be there or thereabouts as well. You would have to say. So Paul McGinn's 34, so he'll be older than the chairman.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Incredible, isn't it? But you don't really pay much attention as a player to the chairman, do you?
No.
Did you, Mark? I couldn't really
But
tell
it's
you.
Only when it was bonus time.
Yeah.
Day-to-day
Christmas
running,
bonus.
don't they? CEO does day-to-day running. So
yeah, so you don't really pay much attention.
There'll be more of that, but anyway, it's quite a nice quirk anyway. And if there is such a thing as a new chairman bounce, it's never been said before, will never be said again. But Motherwell are leading 2-0 at Fir Park against St Johnstone. Same scoreline. St Mirren trailing at Easter Road. They need something, you'd imagine, just before half time, because that atmosphere when they walk off, Gordon, in 5 minutes time is going to be poisonous.
Boos ringing in their ears. The Hibs fans, I'll bet you any money some Hibs fans have already left the stadium. You always get goals with Hibs and St Mirren. I was there a few years ago at the start of the season, and it was a terrific entertaining game in front of a crowd of 18,000. I think I mentioned that on here
a couple of times.
and the Hibs fans then were disappointed, and that was the start of the season. What like are they now when they're going to be rooted to the bottom of the table at 5 o'clock tonight?
I guess sometimes you get an opponent that sometimes just has the beating of you. But if you were going to go into a season, get to early November, and you've already lost heavily twice to St Mirren without scoring. Remember, it was 3-0. Was that the opening day of the season?
Opening day of the season. By the way, and I made a comment, I remember it. I said in that game, if Hibs continue to defend like that, they will be relegation favourites. Now that's opening day. That's one of your comments, Hugh, because it could have came back to bite me pretty quickly. But they've continued to defend like that in almost every single game. I think the only one that they didn't was at Ibrox against Rangers, where they looked pretty decent. You thought that's a Hibs team that will shoot up the table.
What is up with them? Because they've got decent players. They've got decent players, haven't they? They've got a bit of pace about them. They've got a bit of experience. In the middle part, they've got a bit of craft.
As soon as you say, what's up with them? Where do people turn? It's his fault, the manager.
Yeah. Looking back now, it was for me it was just a strange appointment, I've got to say.
Not much to cheer if you're an Inverness Cally Thistle fan at the moment. They have equalised, incidentally, for now. So Cove Rangers 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 1. Adam McKinnon on 39 minutes.
Oh, Stevie May doing the business for Livy.
Yeah, Hamilton Accies 0, Livy 1. Was it not a loan spell at Hamilton Accies that really sort of kick-started Stevie May? I think when he was at St Johnstone way back, didn't he? Went to Hamilton on loan, scored a lot of goals, went back, is that right? Or Alloa? Did he go to both? Yeah,
he went to
both.
Hamilton. Yeah, he was certainly at Hamilton. I remember watching him.
It keeps them in the race. That's the important thing. Livy, yeah. I mean, they're second top. They're a goal up. Falkirk are a goal up. At the moment, they are the race. Falkirk and Livingston. The rest have got a bit of catching up.
Did they keep their team bus when they come down for the Premier League? Because they'd one of the best team buses in Scotland.
I've got no idea, honestly, but I'll find out for you.
Yeah, please do.
Killian Phillips has now had a shot deflected wide, and that's set them off again. The Hibs fans booing away. Hugh?
Oh yeah, I fear for all concerned that this is the drama I was talking about. Things tend to come to an end when you have a dramatic happening, and if Hibs lose by any more than this 2-0 margin that they're suffering at the moment, then that's the dramatic happening.
Let's do this, Hugh, shall we?
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
There are 7 players 33 and older who have scored in the Scottish Premiership this season. They are Nicky Clark, Graham Carey at St Johnstone, Dwight Gale at Hibs, Junior Hoylett at Hibs, Marley Watkins at Kilmarnock, Paul McGinn at Motherwell, and the captain Graham Shinney at Aberdeen.
Good list that, well done if you got it right. The podium looks like Jamie McCarry in third, Not Matondo in second, and Jamie Dock, the winner of the gold medal, the first half teaser. Jamie Dock, it is yours. Well done to you. A quick equaliser there for Hamilton Accies against Livy. Kevin O'Hara just a few minutes before the break, but they're not hanging around in Falkirk. It's already gone, the half time. It's not 4:45 yet, so I don't know how they've reached half time, but they have. Falkirk 1,
I like that.
Airdrieonians 0. Just no hanging around.
The Dazzler would approve of that. Get off the pitch early.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Oh yeah, you want to finish by 4:45.
No VAR, of course, in the Championship and down the way, which often helps. But
I'm just laughing at that, how that comes about, and there's been a goal, so obviously.
Because obviously, you're on the video
time with that.
On the video printer, there are games, in every division all across the UK. None have reached half time yet, but Falkirk Airdrie somehow has done. So fair play to them. Absolutely not hanging around. Decided just to take things into their own hands and kick off early. Why not? It's the dark nights, isn't it? You just want to get done.
I think the Dazzler's right though when he said that at Easter Road, and Fraser is our eyewitness. I think there'll be Hibs fans who are on their way out into Leith for the night.
But do you sometimes want to hang around to voice your displeasure?
Oh yeah, I always say that those who stay have stayed to boo, and that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, there is every chance. Our man's not scored for Crystal Palace yet. What's up with him?
He's went to the second half. There you go.
By all accounts, I'm having a quick flick through social media as well, and some messages coming
for
in.
The parrot? Yeah.
No, actually.
None. Keep your eyes peeled. It's getting dark, so it'll be hard to spot in the darkness.
Lots of criticism about the Hibs performance, so that doesn't help. Not that it would make much difference. They're probably in a results mean everything stage now, but even some sort of sign of life. And
well, that's it exactly. What's happening hints at an irreversible course of events unless you bite the bullet, you change the manager.
Half time starting to go now, left in their wake by Falkirk. Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Elgin City 0 at the break. I can see these types of half time whistles starting to go. We'll see how we fare in our featured Premiership matches. The biggest goal really in the Championship we told you about was quite a while ago now. Friend of the show, Brian Graham, scoring against his former team Wraith Rovers, and I think it looks like Thistle will take that lead into the break. What did the under 18s did they play yesterday?
They did,
and
I was just going to say, brilliant from the captain. Brian Graham popped in just before kick-off. All the best guys, well done. They won 1-0.
Oh, must have inspired them.
Good for the captain. You don't get that from many first team captains dropped in to see the under 18s.
Yeah, good on him.
Well done to the big guy.
Didn't tell us about last weekend. Must have been something in that. But anyway, we'll move on and try and get
void. Think a number between 6 and 8.
7 breakaways.
Surely the halftime whistles will be upon us in the Premiership, because we're getting to that stage. I'm really looking forward to trying to even just hear, no offence, it's not that I don't want to hear Fraser Wishart, but I'm kind of more interested in the noise in the background at Easter Road, just to see how the locals are taking all this. I can't imagine it'll be very well. 2-0 down at home to St Mirren, not 1 in 6, bottom of the table. It's really rough times for Hibs at the moment, and yes, they were hard done by that penalty decision according to the KMI panel last weekend. But there we go. I hope our man hasn't been responsible for the Fulham goal they've just scored against Crystal Palace to go 1 up. Half time for Park. Roger Hannah.
Yeah, half time. Simo Balakari's homecoming not going well, Gordon, as Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0. Saints actually started really brightly. Graham Carey's cross drifting just past the far post before both Adama Siribe and the captain Nicky Clark's shots blocked in the box. Carey then fired over the top, but Motherwell took a long time to get into the game. Tawanda Maswanisi, he had a long run that was ended by a smart tackle by Jack Sanders, and then Andy Halliday had a long range shot that was held by Josh Ray. But in 20 minutes, a breakthrough for the home team, and it started deep in their own half. It actually looked as if they were a bit careless in possession, but the skipper Lennon Miller got on the ball, played a smart pass to Steve Seddon. The centre half, a long ball to free the right wing back Marvin Caleta, and his cross reached the back post where Maswanisi rose to head past Josh Ray for the opening goal. That's knocked for a dinner, a smart save from Matt Smith. He spilled the ball, but Siribe just couldn't reach the rebound as Saints pushed for an equaliser. But then Maswanisi stole the ball off Ray Wright. He burst forward, searching for a second Motherwell goal, but it was a little heavy touch and it allowed Barry Douglas to come in and intercept, coming over on the cover. It's a good save by Josh Ray to deny Apostolos Stamatolopoulos with his header after a wonderful Miller pass had freed Ewan Wilson for a cross to the Aussie striker. The second goal looked as if it was about to come, and it did in 34 minutes. Maswanisi, the scorer of the first, this time providing the assist for Tom Sparrow tonight. Sparrow coming into the team is the only change from the semi-final lineup last weekend for the suspended Liam Gordon. Maswanisi flashed a shot just wide as the Saints defence really began to creak before half-time. They're decent in the ball, Vanakari's side, but they look as if they can concede a goal at any time. Motherwell will go forward. At the break, they've conceded twice. It's Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0.
Similar scoreline pending at Easter Road. We'll just stall for time whilst we get the half-time whistle there. That's a good first half scoreline for Motherwell, Hugh.
Yeah, very good. Simo Balakari up and down since taking over St Johnstone, but for Motherwell, after the semi-final disappointment, they've come back in the most positive fashion possible.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. Maswanisi and Tom Sparrow. All we need now is a Halliday goal, knee slide backflip, shot over the head, etc., etc., just to round it all off. There.
Okay. On the side, Gordon, and you know, after a disappointment last week, the injury list that Motherwell have got, St Johnstone have got, you know, players up front that can cause you problems. That's a terrific half-time result.
They left Kimpioka out though of the starting 11.
Motherwell without Liam Gordon today.
Suspended still.
Suspension, yeah.
Against his former club as well. Yeah, that too much suspension. Half-time Easter Road, Fraser.
Yeah, you could probably hear some of the booing around me. It wasn't quite as bad as I thought at half-time, but round the ground they are not happy. Hibs fans are on edge. Their mood was clear from the start. I think Simmering a good description, but it's boiled over here. The loud booing came when Conor McMenamin scored his first, and louder when he scored his second, and from then on till half time it's been constant for every single mistake by the players and the referee. 17 minutes had gone, the first chance of the game led to a goal. Scott Tanders played really well, did well on the left hand side near the corner flag, lovely cross from the left and turned in by Conor McMenamin from 8 yards. Winger just back from his long injury, really celebrated his goal, and quite right too. A few boos from home support when the goal went in. The ref Ian Snedden getting the treatment for minor decision, and it took Hibs some time to recover. In 27 minutes, their first and probably only real shot at goal. Elliot did really well inside the box. He's back to goal, sharp turn and a really good shot. It hit the post and rebounded clear, but it's St Mirren who got the second on 31 minutes. Warner Hora dallied, he should have cleared the ball, but he delayed. He was robbed by Conor McMenamin 35 yards out, and then Wigan just ran free into the box unchallenged to score with his right foot. I thought Joseph Bursic in the goal should have done better, but then the Hibs fans are really booing every pass, every mistake, every stray pass. Players' confidence completely gone, even the simplest of passes not reaching their target. And St Mirren always dangerous on the break. Couple of good bursts by O'Hara on the left hand side, didn't come to anything, but you could see that St Mirren might have scored a third. With all the focus on Hibs, we shouldn't forget how well St Mirren have played. Big half time for David Gray. Hibs need to score the next goal. If St Mirren score it, their third, this place will empty, except as Hugh Keevins said earlier, those who stay will want to boo. Half time at Easter Road, Hibernian 0, St Mirren 2.
Story developing there, you suspect, unless that changes. Finally, Tannadice half time, David Friel.
Yeah, half time, Gordon, Dundee United 0, Ross County 0. A guaranteed goals here I haven't delivered so far. In fact, we've only had one shot on target in the first 45 minutes, but for all that, it's not been the worst game overall. Both sides trying to play, both sides have created openings. You just can't find that killer touch in the final third. County definitely started better. Eli Campbell's corners have caused all sorts of problems. Jordan White headed one over from 8 yards early on. He probably should have done better. Aidan Denham also had an effort blocked around that time, but United settled, started to create because Sevel's forced a routine save from Ross Laidlaw in 20 minutes. Sam Dalby headed wide. Will Ferry's been really bright in the left for United. His brilliant cross was begging to be converted, but nobody was there. Dalby, he's also been a handful. He fluffed a volley after being picked out in the box, but County have defended pretty well. They've been resolute. Eli Campbell's always been a danger down that left wing. He sent an effort over the bar from 20 yards before the break. So I'd say United probably have just edged it in terms of pressure. I think Jim Goodwin will be expecting a big second half shooting down the slope. Half time, Dundee United 0, Ross County 0.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee United 0, Ross County 0, Hibs 0, St Mirren 2, Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 0, and Aberdeen Dundee is still to come at 5:30. In the Championship, Falkirk 1, Airdrie 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Livingston 1, Partick Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 0, and Queen's Park 1, Dunfermline 0. In League 1, Annan 1, Stenhousemuir 1, Cove Rangers 1, Inverness 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Dumbarton 0, and Montrose 1, Arbroath 0. Into League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, Elgin City 0, East Fife 0, Stranraer 1, Edinburgh City 0, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Spartans 2, and Stirling Albion 2, Peterhead 1. These second halves are coming up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
I am a dull presentation in a dull office. I am forgettable, boring, and everywhere. And I am a Canva presentation for a big, shiny business deal. I am clear, confident, and bold. I'm a Canva presentation for a charming soiree. Elegant, graceful, like a nice cup of tea on a lovely afternoon.
Me, I'm like a Canva prezzo for a trendy campaign, so hot, so now, so viral.
Choose from thousands of designed presentation templates on Canva. Design against dull.
At Tesco, our finest mince pies are half price. Now £1.50 with your Tesco Club card. Feel the power to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores ends 19th of November. Club card or app required.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Let's go back to Easter Road because that's where the story of the day is developing. We all speculated before as to whether David Gray could survive a defeat. They're 2-0 down at home to St Mirren, and I wonder, Fraser, is it, you think that reality will be hitting on him? Is he trying to produce a team talk to save his job in there right now?
Well, he certainly needs to do something here, Gordon, and I often say when the fans start turning on the director's box, then that's when the manager's in trouble, and that's what's happened here as well. It's been really, really hostile, the environment. I think I said simmering, but it's certainly boiled over. And even at half time, although there wasn't as much booing as I thought, it was still louder than you would usually have. Everything's been booed, from the referee giving a throw in the wrong way in Hibs' eyes to even a stray pass or a corner being headed away. They are booing everything, so that the supporters are on the edge here. So David Gray just got to somehow get something out of his players. Sell you and the post. It was the only effort of any kind of note at the goal. To get a goal, then the whole thing can change. We've seen it so often. One goal, all of a sudden players who are lacking in confidence, you can just see it in the players lacking in confidence, all of a sudden there's an extra yard in their step as well. But if St Mirren to get a third, wow, I really don't know what's going to happen here. You can just feel the tension from the kick-off. Even before St Mirren scored, there was tension around this ground. So goodness knows what's going through David Craig's mind, but a big 45 minutes ahead for this football club.
Any sign of any changes? I mean, can he roll the dice? Is he at that stage where he has to do something and try and shake it up at the break?
I've been trying to look at who's warming up. We kicked off late here, Gordon, about 3 or 4 minutes past, so we're still during the warm-up period at half-time, but there's only 6 Hibs substitutes, and I'll maybe a wee look and see who might come on, because he might make 2 or 3 changes. It's one of those performances. There has been nothing other than that Ewan shot to threaten the Balcombe goal, and St Mirren have been very, very comfortable. And let's not forget how well they've played. You know, I think I said before the game, this is a game that might suit them. You know, just being compact, sitting in, hitting on the break. It's been that and more. They've been really, really good, Sitman, in the way they've been structured, the way they've played the game. So yeah, I think there'll be 2, maybe 3 changes from Hibs at half time.
Well, listen out when the teams come back out. You can give us your updates if there are any. St Johnstone have made a couple of changes at the break as well. Jason Holt off, I think Matt Smith off as well. So Lewis Nielsen and Andre Raymond on. So Simo Valakari's not hanging around there. He clearly not happy with what he's seen, going 2-0 down at Fir Park in the first 45 minutes. Like we said, he played there 4 years as a player. The Motherwell fans love him actually, but I'm sure they'll still be happy to see him trailing at the moment. Any sign yet, Fraser?
Yeah, just saying that I can see Rocky Bashiri, I can see Nicky Cadden and Dylan Levitt have all come on at half time, so that's a big sign. Warren O'Hora is certainly one that's gone off. O'Hora had a horror. It was 35 yards from goal for the second goal. Dallied, should have cleared it, robbed goal. I can see Dylan Levitt's come on. I think it might be Triantis or Kwon, I'm not quite sure. And Nicky Cadden's come on the left hand side as well. So they're certainly going to push for this equaliser. Nicky Cadden one wing, Martin Boyle on the other. It looks like Hoylett and Yuan through the middle. They've taken off Triantis and Kwon. That's the other 2 that have come off as well. So big 45 minutes ahead here. If Hibs get the next goal, the whole atmosphere changes and the fans will get behind them. So really exciting, really interesting 45 minutes ahead here at Easter Road.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
It's a nightmare though when it gets to that stage and you are scrambling around for solutions, because on paper, Hugh, and at times, you know, Triantis and Kwon kind of looks like a strong midfield. That looks like that should be a good midfield pairing for this level. Both hooked at half time in an attempt to save the day.
And Rocky Bashiri, I have to be honest, has never been my idea of an absolutely reliable defender. Was he involved in your first game of the season, Mark? When
I don't think he was, but Ekpateta was, and he's now partnering Bashiri. I would be concerned if I was a Hibs fan that St Mirren will add to that. There is a mistake in that backline.
This is so far. And Fraser's right to highlight the fact that if Hibs score, then the complexion changes. But so far, this is the definition of the game that brings matters to a head at a troubled club. If 2 becomes 3 or even 4, then I'm afraid matters have come to a head and the club are obliged to address the situation that they are in. It's not just Hibs who are in bother. Hearts are just a point above them, and Simo Valakari with St Johnstone a point above Hearts. So there's a few clubs bothered by the thought of relegation. However, at Hibs, the decline at the moment seems to be irreversible.
Yeah, troubled times at Easter Road. It's a big second half for them. The boys are right. International break coming up gives the board some time, some thinking time to see if a change has got to be made. He's certainly got to get the next goal in this game. And look, he was in at half time. He's not been happy. He's made 3 changes. Can that work for him? He had to try something. But I agree with what Mark's saying about the defence. I think that'll play right into St Mirren's hands. They must be fully confident. 2-0 up at Easter Road. Another goal just cements this, and Easter Road will empty.
I feel for David Gray, because he's obviously looked at performances and he's done what all of us have probably suggested in Miller. Leave him out at the starting lineup, replaced by Cadden. But they're just getting the same mistakes over and over again. Individual errors cost him at crucial times in the game. So I think sometimes when you're a manager, you're going through these wee periods, and it doesn't matter what you do, things keep coming back to bite you. He's in a horrible position at the minute. I think he has just rolled the dice. I need to change something for the sake of changing and hope for a better result. And you know, it's up to the players now, who's put in the 45 to dig him out of a huge hole.
I take you back, Mark, to your old pal Jim Goodwin, when things had reached an impasse at Aberdeen. He went to Easter Road and lost 6-0. He should never have been allowed to start the match, because Darvel had knocked Aberdeen out of the cup, and that was the point at which there should have been a parting of the ways. However, they let him go on. He lost 6-0 at Easter Road, and as we all know, he was sacked within 20 minutes of that game ending. Now, this is not 6-0 yet, and I'm not suggesting that David Gray gets the sack tonight, but I am saying there are worrying signs that this decline is irreversible as things stand at the moment, and if the score in favour of St Mirren gets any more favourable for St Mirren, something will happen.
You can't keep going on. Look, I don't like to see any young manager getting the sack. It's his first job. He's a Hibs legend there. The fans loved him. He's playing days, obviously scores that famous goal. But if you're Hibs and out of 36 points you've picked up 8, that unfortunately does not keep you in a job in a dugout.
But he's still got that time left. He's now fighting for survival on a personal level. The club are in turmoil. There's unhappiness behind the scenes. The Bill Foleys of this world, the Bournemouth owner, who put £6 million into Hibs, he didn't want, and publicly said that he did not want David Gray to be the manager. So that adds to the chaos of what's going on. So I wish David Gray well, but he's got 45 minutes to prove that he's capable of doing something positive for that club.
Malky Mackay's still there, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Bill Foley also said didn't want him to be employed in that role.
He's still going to be there, I take it, no matter what happens today. If David Gray does lose his job, Malky Mackay will still be in place. That's the whole point of putting in a technical director.
Yeah, I would guess that Malky Mackay would be the manager.
Certainly in the sort of interim period, you would imagine. So we'll do this teaser in just a second, Hugh. I'll give you a look at it. I've made a wee edit to this. I wonder if we can just make it a bit trickier. I think I'm fed up of people taking the mickey out of us in the second half teaser. So
I'm good to go.
We'll do it in just a wee sec. Just let me give you any updated. Motherwell on top again at Fir Park. So that's a quick start to the second half after being 2-0 up at the interval. Let's do it then, Hugh, and give some maximum time on it.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Stephen Naismith and Romelu Lukaku. I have been managed by Paul Le Guen. I spent 7 seasons in the English Premier League before moving to Scotland, where I played with 2 different clubs. Who am I?
Give us it again, I like it.
I have played alongside Stephen Naismith and Romelu Lukaku. I have been managed by Paul Le Guen. I spent 7 seasons in England's Premier League before moving to Scotland, where I played with 2 different clubs. Who am I?
Oh, good question. Really good. Really good.
Got it.
At Clyde SSB, send it in. Gordon Dalziel is excellent at these.
I've got it.
Who am I? We found it's a weird niche that he's got in life, but he's good at the.
Very good.
Yeah, he does have it.
Yeah.
Yep, that is it. Well done.
That's the one.
Very impressive. Very, very impressive, I have to say.
Far too good for Panto.
Exactly.
I didn't spell it right.
No,
sorry, my apologies.
By the way, it's not even that hard to spell, so don't let that throw you. Don't think you have to go looking for some.
We're not entirely sure that you know how to spell your own name.
No, so I was struggling with that.
There's a quick goal at the start of the second half. Hamilton Accies 1, Livy 2. Lewis Smith, formerly of Hamilton Accies.
Yes.
Lewis Smith, I think so. 50 minutes gone there, and Livy in front. Hibs still haven't scored, so they need to get their finger out.
Livy doing well to keep touch, because I think everyone thought that they might struggle this season. I know we keep saying that, but I keep thinking they might just stall. But fair play to David Martindale. He's got a squad there that just keeps churning it out.
Alan wants you to know on Twitter, Hugh, that the Bankies lost their 100% league record today, but it was a fantastic battling 0-0 against second place Largs Thistle, playing 71 minutes with 10 men.
You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Feels like a win.
Yeah, that is a moral victory.
Today's victim of the go on lads, keep it tight, don't do anything daft in the next 10 minutes is Graham Webster of Montrose, sent off after 54 minutes.
They're leading as well, 1-0. Keeping a close eye on Montrose this year.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good. Any particular reason?
No, I just took a fancy to him.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever.
Who? Montrose?
Yeah, good
Whatever
side.
Floats your boat.
Like Montrose.
Fulham are 2-0 up on Crystal Palace. Just assessing if our man's still on.
So are Falkirk.
No, Falkirk.
I think he is.
Yeah, Calvin Miller.
Yeah, Calvin Miller. The league leaders beating the team at the bottom of the Championship. So no real surprises there, you would have to say.
No.
Falkirk heavy favourites for that game, and Airdrie's struggle continue. I suppose when you're in that, and that Fulham goal's been ruled out, by the way. I suppose when you're in that rut, it's a difficult one because you're not judged, you're not expected to beat Airdrie. You're not expected to beat Falkirk, sorry, if you are Airdrie, but nevertheless it adds to the...
It's all about irreversible decline, which is the phrase of the day. You know, for Airdrie so far, unfortunately, this season has been about irreversible decline. Like Hibs, bottom of the league, trailing 2-0 at home now.
Referee Ross Hardy at Fir Park is going to the screen. You know what that tends to mean. A VAR check for a St Johnstone penalty for an alleged handball. And the words with Willie Collum. I think it's this week, the next VAR review.
Yeah, you can meet him in your clothes shop. The 2 years ago.
Because
same aisle.
Rightly so, there was a lot of praise, I think, at the start of the season. Then there were one or two decisions in the last couple of weeks. People are starting to wonder if the bar that was set can be adhered to. Can it be kept throughout the season? So we'll see what the latest is. It is a penalty to St Johnstone for handball in the box.
Anyway, you two have got a chairman now that's in the rag trade, so you two will be hanging about for part.
That's it. Who takes the penalties? Nicky Clark?
Nicky Clark scored an own goal last week. We've got a goal elsewhere actually.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, David Field guaranteed goals. He's got one eventually. Dundee United 1, Ross County 0. It is that Liverpool loanee Lucas Stevenson with the goal. He's been fairly involved since he came up, and great cross from Ferry and a brilliant header. Who do you think gave the penalty away?
Andy Halliday.
Was it?
Oh, to get the hands up and apologise now.
He'll be fuming because it's close range. So if we're on about proximity and all that stuff, and we were kind of thought we were not giving those ones unless the hand's like really high.
Maybe he's seen a Rangers supporter in the crowd and went sorry.
Just tried to wave.
Sorry.
So
I think referees when they see Andy will think.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Nicky Clark takes, Nicky Clark scores. So the big decision has put a different look on that game. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1 now. Aston Oxborough goes the wrong way, and it's very much game on at Fir Park.
Well, Nicky Clark's dad played for Rangers, so he should really apologise to Andy Halliday, shouldn't he?
I played with Sandy.
Yeah,
used to travel him. Good player, Sandy.
I was going to say, do you think when referees give things like that, they'll think I'm going to be a discussion point here on SSB or other media stuff that Andy does?
I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we need to see it again, obviously. But if it's close, Roger will just be sticking by his Monday night colleague. He reckons harsh.
Does he?
Yeah.
But it's a good start for St Johnstone second half. That's the response he'll be looking for. Gets them right back into the game. I don't think the goals are finished at Fir Park. I think there's still more to come.
Yeah, I mean, St Johnstone, they do have Kim Pioka on the bench, don't they? Is that what Roger told us?
No idea. I didn't really listen to Roger.
I thought Roger told us that, and if he's not come on yet, then there's an option there to try and throw things at it a bit later on. Motherwell will be frustrated. They had started the second half on top again, but find themselves pegged back 2-1. Hugh Keevins, your teaser is up and running. People are liking it. Oh, what a spread of answers, which I like here. Okay, so again, just let's do the first batch of wrong answers to help people along the way.
I have played alongside Stephen Naismith and Romelu Lukaku. I've been managed by Paul Le Guen. I spent 7 seasons in the English Premier League before moving to Scotland, where I played with 2 different clubs. Who am I?
Ryan McGinley thinks it might be Graham Dorrans.
No.
A couple of people, Mad Bottle Top amongst them, thinks Davy Weir.
No.
Jamie Dock thinks Brandon Barker.
Think again.
Okay, keep your guesses coming at Clyde SSB on that. We won't be too far away from giving you the scene setter and team news for Aberdeen against Dundee. Aberdeen having to do something, of course, that they've not had to do under Jimmy Tilleen, and that is bounce back from a defeat, and quite a defeat at that.
Well, I see that he went to Old Trafford the day after losing 6 goals to Celtic. He was invited by Sir Alex and watched Man U play Chelsea. No doubt got a few words of wisdom from Sir Alex on how to come back after a setback.
Did you see Alan Burrows managed to wangle an invite as well?
Was he there
honestly,
as well?
I'll not have words with him.
Shameful.
His so-called beloved Motherwell are playing in a cup semi-final,
and he's
down in the director's box at Old Trafford. People change, don't they? People change.
You've become too small for him. You're just people from the rural communities of Scotland.
Well, when Fergie invites you down,
you probably say yes, don't you?
Yeah, it happened to me when I was manager here.
Yeah, remember the famous, we can't let it pass by, remember the famous time you went to hospitality
Yeah,
down there?
that was a mistake.
You saw Colleen Rooney and you thought you recognised her from school.
Wait till you see her in the jungle soon. You'll be like, there's that girl from school.
Mate,
we Ant and Deck.
That
in the jungle next week.
That wasn't a good moment.
What was it you said? So you said to her again, I've not seen you in ages.
I've not seen you for a while.
What
are you doing here? I said,
I only get in that room once.
She must have been looking at you.
Mate, honestly,
my recollection is I went through 3 security doors where a man had a notepad, and if your name wasn't on it, he didn't go. But eventually got through all the doors, and Mick Hucknall was in the room.
Was he?
Mick Hucknall
holding back to you?
Tell you what, he was
like that.
He was.
I know you fancy yourself a bit, but you look older than Colleen Rooney. Can we please just establish that?
I know, but you've got to remember there was
few wines,
champagne,
right, okay.
yeah, and I've not got the greatest memory in the world, and I just thought to myself, I know you from somewhere. So I took a wee stab in the dark that Liverpool accent was Motherwell accent. So
how many times have you seen him doing that to others though? When he clearly doesn't know their name. How you doing? And he'll say to him, who was that? And he'll say, I've no idea.
By the way, I met one of the players assigned in that garage at Clydebank, right? And I'm walking in and he went, how you doing, Daz? And I went, oh, how you, son? Is everything going well? He went, you have no idea who I am. He just put me right in the spot.
Straight on to you.
Yeah, I went, no, I've not.
Did Colleen call for security and get you thrown out?
Do you know something? I'm going to, honestly, Hugh, I don't know why. Maybe she had a couple of cocktails, but she stood there for about 10 minutes. That's how I was so convinced I knew her.
A couple of cocktails at the game. Not sure they served cocktails at the game.
Right, VAR checked for a Hibs penalty. You're looking for the break.
Oh, that's it.
No penalty, no handball.
That's not it.
It was Boyle's shot blocked by Taylor. Taylor then with a header off the bar, rebound hits Alex, your pal,
my mate,
and goes over. So still 2-0. Oh, it is a penalty, Hibs now. This could be the moment. Martin Boyle fouled by O'Hara on the edge of the box. This needs to go in, doesn't it?
Who takes Hibs penalties?
Might be Martin Boyle.
Yeah.
I don't fancy him.
No,
why not?
I don't think he's a great ball kicker.
Well, he scored a belter of a free kick only a couple of weeks ago, right in the top corner.
No.
They're going to check
at
to
Easter Road.
They're going to check to see if it's inside the box or not. He's a decent penalty taker, Martin Boyle.
It was about 3 weeks ago. He scores a free kick at the top man.
We're talking about 2 penalty claims in quick succession.
Relatively, a minute or two apart. Yeah. So they're going to check though to see if it's inside the box. Remember, that's your old factual check. So the foul's given, and they'll just have a wee look to see if it's inside or outside the box. Did someone not miss a Hibs penalty and the manager got sacked? Does that ring any? I mean, it's very vague. I'm not giving you a lot to go on. Like I've got something in the back of my head. Jack Ross?
Not sure. I've done it myself. Ian McCall missed it. Rugby Park. Ian McCall got sacked. Felt guilty about that. I did.
So
not a nice feeling.
You.
It's alright, he doesn't hold any grudges.
But he doesn't call you Mark.
That was a poor one. Poor penalty.
Was that a poor penalty?
Oh,
you don't
dreadful.
seem a good kicker of the ball either, to be honest.
Kicker of the ball. Can we find different terminology on that?
Ball
please?
kicker in. What do you want to call it?
Well, the
technician.
Several managers put me on corners and free kicks and penalties, so you know.
Yeah, but you just admit you got a manager sacked
because I missed a penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
You missed a penalty. Theo Snelders
one.
There you are. See, in the old memory bank somewhere, Martin Boyle missed.
I told you, no good penalty kicker.
And Livy beat them 1-0. Jack Ross got sacked.
There you go. And you're waiting to get back in the game this afternoon.
Well, he steps up this time.
I'd be like,
misses again.
Told you.
Saved.
He's got
penalty. Wow.
I would have went Boyley.
I'm sorry.
You're no kicking
that is an unwanted stat. If you're the player that misses 2 penalties that gets 2 managers seen off, wow, that would be quite
something. It's just a sign though that when I said earlier on, when things aren't going your way and you keep seeding with stupid mistakes. Then you get the opportunity and your players can't even take advantage of it.
It's a poor penalty as well. Balcom's holds it.
I'm telling you, I'm on fire. Right? I just had this imagination of him. I didn't fancy him.
There is no hard luck story attached to that. You then become the architect of your own downfall.
See, for a manager, that is sickening. And you've got to imagine, right? David Gray's never been in this position before.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves. Just say it plays out that way. And I take Hughes, but obviously overall you need to take accountability for the situation. But if the two games that do it for you are one where one of your players can't score a penalty and one that the Scottish FA have essentially admitted you shouldn't have had a penalty against you, that's hard to take, isn't it?
Yeah, but even if he scores a penalty, they're still behind.
I know. That's fair.
There's no guarantee. But I've given them some lift. There's no doubt about that. Getting the next goal gets the fans on your side, gives you that bit of confidence, gives you the lift. But unfortunately, it's went against them again.
If you're a pessimistic fan, you're saying it's all consistent with a club who have lost their direction and nothing is going right.
I think if you're a player on the pitch as well, a Hibs player, and that doesn't go in, I've been there before. You know the feeling. Nothing's going for us. Your shoulders start to slump a bit. It's difficult to get back in. I think
one of the compliments I'd pay Celtic in the Champions League on Tuesday night, the Leipzig players knew long before the end that they were out on their feet and this was going nowhere. And when the 5 minutes went up, time added on, I thought the Celtic players responded in a manner which showed that they knew they were playing well and winning well, and the Leipzig players thought, oh no, another 5 minutes.
Kimpioka on for St Johnstone as they try and equalise, although Sidibe, the man who goes off, Andy Halliday and Apostolos Stamatopoulos off. Davor Zratrovsky and Tony Watt on. Tony Watt,
that's a strange one. He never come on last week
at any point in the Cup semi-final.
I've got to say, I thought the substitutions, the front men last week, I think if he looked back at that, he would have been a bit disappointed. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make a response here. But St Johnstone have now got a threat on the pitch as well.
Cove 1, Inverness 2. Here we go. We're always looking for something to cheer up Inverness fans. It's a long way to go, but Keith Bray has scored for them on 67 minutes. Stirling Albion 2, Peterhead 2 down the leagues. We've got another goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's Dundee United 2, Ross County 0. It's Sam Dalby again. He's in good form now. Ball over the top, runs away from the defender. The goalie slipped a bit, which helps. He then just slides it past him, and it looks like Dundee United will take all 3 points in that one
and move on to the same number of points as Rangers. When did you think you'd last say that?
3 more goals to leapfrog them. Do you fancy it?
No,
don't think so, but a good result nevertheless.
Ross County are a funny team, aren't they? They can get a good result and then a couple of bad results and then a good. I think over a piece Ross County will be in trouble. You've got to imagine that Hearts will start picking up. St Johnstone have got a bit of a threat. Can Hibs pick up? Are we too early to say that they're in real trouble? Because they might bring a new manager in, and then all of a sudden you get that new manager bounce to see if they can take them forward. But right now I think Ross County and probably Hibs are really in trouble.
Mark, you said that your shoulders would slump if you'd been on the park and the players would realise it wasn't going to be their day. Do they feel that way about the man in charge of them?
Well, I don't know. In my experience, no, not.
Don't think you think
not directed against the manager. I just think you automatically think everything's going against you, and whatever you do, you're not going to get out of this hole. I think you're still trying your best for the manager. I think these players, and what I've heard about David Gray, really like him.
Mm-hmm.
They like his coaching. They like the setup. So they feel a bit helpless. I know that sounds silly because they're the ones that can get them out the hole, but sometimes it just doesn't go for you.
Double change for Hibs again, trying to do something. Gale and McCurdy on, Boyle and Hoylett off. So just really searching for anything now. They've missed a penalty. You wonder if they've missed their opportunity. It's still 2-0. And then St Mirren can freshen things up. They go for the full front three change. Mandron, Smith and Ayunga on. McMenamin, Kilty and Olusanya off.
At the back of his mind, Stephen Robinson's probably thinking the same as Mark was outlining there, that nothing's going right for Hibs, and I might get a third here.
Good result for Hibs today. St Mirren today, leapfrogs them into top 6, which they'll take because their form hasn't been that great of late.
Check the teaser, Hugh, see if we're making any progress. Help those who are not.
I have played alongside Stephen Naismith and Romelu Lukaku. I have been managed by Paul Le Guen. I spent 7 seasons in England's Premier League before moving to Scotland, where I played with 2 different clubs. Who am I?
Wee Scooch and others, including Sean Ross, thinks it's Ilhaj Diouf,
and it's not.
Jamie McCarry would like to throw in Ross McCormick.
No.
And okay,
I'm always impressed how quick you get him, because it's a great shout, that.
Joe McGee says Stephen Whittaker.
No.
Right, okay. Robert Beaton's actually tweeting just to accuse you of still cheating at the teaser.
Well, you guys are sitting there. How can I cheat?
Well, you did it for like 2 years.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago.
Previously.
Don't tar me with the same brush.
Eamon Brophy has had a curling effort over the bar. It looks like Ross County are quite a way out of that anyway. 2-0 to Dundee United at Tannadice. Queen's Park 2, Dunfermline 1. Jack Turner with the goal for the Spiders.
There's another team in trouble.
Oh, and I think actually in the midst of all the excitement about Hibs, Wraith equalised against your Partick Thistle, Mark.
I tried to just ignore that when I saw it come through.
Dylan Easton was the goal scorer.
Dylan Easton used to play with Dylan Easton.
Did you?
Dumbarton.
He scored a few goals.
Dumbarton days.
He scored a right few goals for Wraith, I've got to say.
Last season, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was excellent.
I think he's about 174 behind. I'm not too sure. I'll need to check that. You're due. Is it not the 2 weeks
anniversary?
Yeah,
soon?
2 weeks.
What anniversary?
30th.
The 30th.
Of what? The cup
come
final?
on.
But I've still got the armband.
You're not still going on about that. It's a League Cup. I've won that. I lost count how many I've won.
The hotel is booked.
Yeah, I heard about
Hold
this.
on, you're going up?
Yeah, he's going for the reunion.
No way.
Yeah.
After turning his back on them for years.
God, it's a freebie. Hotel booked.
By the way,
genuinely, right?
He would slaughter everybody for doing that.
I know, this is true. I was speaking to a Wraith Rovers official, quite well placed, last week. He told me that Gordon Dalziel was going back up for this reunion and said that he'd been kicking up a big fuss about make sure I've got a hotel and all this sort of stuff.
That's sweet.
Sweet.
How outrageous is that?
Hold on a minute.
What day is it?
It's
Next
about
week?
50 minutes up the road.
I'm going up to make it. I'm going up to celebrate with my
Add a bit of
ex-teammates.
prestige, didn't you?
You know what I mean?
Surely Jimmy Nicholl should get the suite.
And what are you doing in this gig?
Did Jimmy Nicholl win the cup for?
He was the manager of the team.
It doesn't matter. He was standing. I had to do the work. We were 2-1 down. We were beat. Celtic fans are celebrating. Up steps the Dazzler.
I was doing trackside.
30 years later, still get the winner's medal. It's in the dump right enough.
I was doing trackside at Ibrox that day, and Jimmy Nicholl, time up, pandemonium, you can imagine. And he said to me, who scored? Hold it. Stop the bus. Right, stop right there before you make a fool of yourself.
No, he did.
Are you talking about the first goal? Because you're certainly not talking about the equaliser. Because everybody knows
the manager was
scored.
so carried away in the moment, and there were tears in his eyes, and he'd forgotten who scored the goals for Wraith Rovers before the interview started.
Yeah, there you go. Edinburgh City 1, Clyde 0. Connor Young with the goal. His namesake Darren is not enjoying the start to life at Clyde, still struggling to get going. Aaron Weir of Stirling Albion sent off. Lots happening all around the country,
except for Hibs.
Are you fearing Gordon Dalziel for Motherwell? Can you see St Johnstone maybe equalising in this one?
I could see Motherwell maybe taking on a little bit of pressure and going up the park and sealing the deal with a third, which would certainly do that.
I mean, it's good fun to sort of wind up our fellow pundits and Andy Halliday, but you've seen that handball. What do you think, Mark? Is it not sort of blasted right at him from sort of 2 yards
I don't
away?
even think it is 2 yards. I think it's a yard almost away, and look, his hand's out, but his elbow tucked into his side.
Do you not think it's up a bit?
Yeah, but
his
the elbow's
hand
in,
is,
it's the hand, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's
Look, I agree with you, boys, but seen it, and if it's not Andy, it's not Motherwell, I'd probably say that was a penalty.
But even bearing in mind all that stuff we heard at the start of the season about trying to raise the bar and trying to take distance into account a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for it.
They do say that, distance isn't everything, and if the hand is like really outstretched, really high, you give it. So that's obviously what they think. But he's clearly, the elbow is in. It's just his hand, like literally his hand's kind of next to his face. So maybe that's enough. But there we go. Mackenzie Kirk, who has been impressive at times off the bench for St Johnstone this season, he's come on for the goal scorer and skipper Nicky Clark. Motherwell respond as well. Moses Ebiye on for Tawanda Maswanise, goal scorer, to set Motherwell on their way.
Rory McAllister still scoring. What age must he be now?
He's 53.
Still scoring. Peterhead ahead. 3-2 Stirling Albion.
But no goal for the Hibs.
37.
37
Wow.
still going. I could never have been bothered with that. Imagine playing at your 37. When did you chuck it? Or when did it chuck you?
Aye, it chucked me 31.
Ronaldo's nearly 40.
I know, but it's different if you're picking up the wage that he's picking up. But the money that we were getting, 32, that was it. Boom. Finished.
32 you were?
Something like that, yeah.
But no injuries?
No.
That sums him up.
That's terrible. I always have an excuse.
I was player manager and I decided I'm not playing.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, I'm made sure my contract was
Crystal
okay.
Palace got a red card there, and I was fearing. I thought it was our man, but he was subbed earlier, so he's. Listen, still a great story. I wasn't able to contribute to a win or anything like that. They're a goal down and he's gone off, but you'd be happy with that. What a story it is.
Oh yeah,
Justin Devaney. Really incredible story. In case you missed it earlier, this is a player who was born in Scotland, represents Northern Ireland under 21s, but he was a youngster at Killie, went on loan to Broomhill, played for Airdrie at the start of last season, and started for Crystal Palace in the English Premier League today. An incredible story.
Do you know something? I remember I got a few invites, and I'm just curious how they're doing this season. Remember the Braves, Caledonian Braves?
What do you want their score
well.
right now?
Are they doing well?
Yeah,
they
started really well.
Yeah, because they used to give me a few invites to go along and watch them.
I think they're still second. They started really, really well.
They play at Strathclyde Park, don't they?
They do, yes.
Yeah.
I think is it Alliance Park they call it, the
Is that
actual
what it's
stadium
called?
but to you and I,
The Strathy.
I mean, you've been down there a few times.
Oh yeah.
So if you just
I know the Strathy.
head down to the bottom car
Yeah.
park,
Oh, I know the bottom.
What a flashing lights in there, is it?
No, that's the theme park you're thinking of. Come on, this is a
M&D,
family show.
Sorry.
They're second, just a point. Well, before today, a point behind East Kilbride, having played a game more. Last I checked,
That's good. Go on the Braves.
They're 2-0 down today though. East Kilbride are 2-2 with Trinent. I think they were leading East Kilbride, but I think they've been pegged back again. Last I checked, yeah. Still
Have they
2-2.
get Ayr United next week?
Challenge Cup, I think. Yeah,
next week.
Actually, Tuesday. I'm going to go to that.
Who's Tuesday? Ayr United and
East Kilbride. I'm sure that's Tuesday. Yeah. One of your boys.
Hold on a minute.
It's a 7:45.
He asked you if you come in here and what, and you went, no, I can't. And you're going to a game.
It's a 7:45 kickoff.
What does that mean?
Because my training finishes at 7.
All right, okay.
Okay, and one of your boys from last year is on loan at East Kilbride.
Can't wait till next Thursday.
Hi,
Tell
what's
me
happening?
this: is the Masters on TV?
Oh,
Certainly is.
Is it?
It certainly is. It's on BBC.
Right. Bring your popcorn, Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah.
Imagine you and me are going to be on this show on Thursday night, watching the Masters whilst he's playing. We will then be able to relay our opinions on him to the rest of the nation.
Oh, I know my opinion
in real time. That is exciting stuff.
By the way, I'll tell you what, we'll not even get halfway through our popcorn and he'll be off. Injured knee. He's
no,
gone.
I think the opposite. He bombs about like a red-faced fly for the full
gone.
game.
He jumped off the treadmill today. He's gone. He's no fit. Do you know something? I hope the manager of Dundee United's listening to this, whoever it is, because all he's doing is going up to Aberdeen to get the envelope. Right? he's going to go out there, play 10 minutes, give it the knee one, take the envelope and down the road.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know
I
what I'm
am
talking
fully
about.
charged for this. I will be. I return as a winner, and the Dundee United boys will never have seen a winning medal like this before. So I'll take that up.
I
Inspiration.
can't wait to see it.
It'll be great. That'll be great.
The thought of you with your red face and your two dodgy knees chasing Jermaine Defoe around is enough to make me tune in.
He'll not do much running him. Jermaine Defoe.
Who's your first game?
I'll bet you any money he does.
I don't know.
I've seen him in some of these charity games.
Is he alright?
He's still lively.
I'll say to Gary Kenneth, you mark Defoe.
Yep, there's a
I'll put
pairing
a
that
sweeper.
has not been mentioned together too often.
It'll be the only five-a-side team that will just lump the ball up the park and hopefully go and win the second ball.
Stick John Daly up there.
Aye. Mark tries to get to the byline, the five-a-side team.
Can't wait. I
Advertising board.
cannot wait. I was going to say it means we need to find another pundit to take his place, but why bother?
No,
Just be you
we'll
and me,
commentate on it.
Listen, see if I win it again, you'll never hear the end of it.
I'm sticking my neck on the line.
Nothing will win it.
No chance.
Right, that's inspired me.
Well, hold on. Wilson and who? Kenneth?
Aye.
There you go.
Solid.
There are two reasons you'll know
That's
win
all
it.
you think of. Solid
Who
when you
else
hear.
you got? John Daly.
Rankin. Willow Flood.
Willow Flood.
Oh, Willow Flood.
Good player, wee Willow.
Craig Conway.
Oh, I had Craig.
Danny Swanson.
Oh, all of a sudden
there we
there's
go.
there's good energy in there.
Yeah. There you go.
Who have Rangers got again? Defoe.
I don't even want to think about it.
Who have they got?
The loads of good ones.
Who's Celtic?
Tavernier.
Celtic have got, I think, Hooper, Petrov,
Was Scott
Charlie
Brown-
McGrew. I don't know if Scott Brown's
Right.
playing. By the way, I was speaking to Aidan McGeady and he says he's been asked, and I hope he's turned it down because Aidan could still play, I think, at a very good level.
Interesting change for Motherwell. The goal scorer Sparrow off, Harry Payton on. The thing that's interesting about it, not played since the 20th of July. I was actually there. It was one of those League Cup games against Clyde at Hamilton. Went down, one of those you could tell straight away that he looked in a bit of bother and hasn't played since. Motherwell's injury list has been ridiculous this season, Gordon. So
well, that's a good boost.
maybe clearing up a bit.
Yeah, that's a good boost getting him back. Delighted to see him back. Yes, you're right. I think the injuries this year has been incredible. But Stuart Kettlewood's been lucky that he's got a big squad there, Gordon, and decent enough players that can come in and fill in for a few games. So lovely to see Payton back in the pitch.
Will we get rid of the teaser before the drama that is Easter Road?
Yeah, let's do it just quickly. The Rangers team for your Masters mark.
Give us it.
Barry Ferguson, Jermaine Defoe, Chris Boyd, Lee McCulloch, Graham Dorrans, Pedro Mendes, Roy
Mendes
Carroll,
is alright.
Who's your goalkeeper?
Roy Carroll in goal.
Oh,
And Dean
Do you know what?
Shields.
I've seen a lot of them off last year with the Celtic
You
team.
happy with that?
Defoe might be a problem.
who's your goalie?
I think he'll be a problem.
Paul Gallagher.
Oh, Paul
Remember Paul Gallagher?
Yeah.
Aye.
Big Jim's boy.
Let's round this off, Hugh, if you are ready.
I am.
This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp. We're probably all guilty of not taking enough moments in our life to say thank you to someone important, someone who makes a difference. For me, of course, I've got family and friends I can speak to, but what about the family in here? As much as we get nonsense from the likes of Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel on this show, it is really important, seriously, to take a moment and realise the difference having a laugh with your friends can make and escape whatever else is going on. So I'd like to shout out to them both and all the other pundits in the show for keeping me and hopefully you entertained every night. And this month with BetterHelp, it's all about gratitude. So along with the likes of Mark and Daz, the other person we don't get to thank enough is ourselves. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself, because you're listening to the Super Scoreboard podcast. You're obviously already got pretty sound judgment. Remember to tell yourself that there are so many benefits to using BetterHelp for therapy. It's not just for people who've experienced serious trauma in their lives. There are great tips for learning positive coping skills, how to set boundaries, and just be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/SSB. That's betterhelp.com/SSB.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played alongside Stephen Naismith and Romelu Lukaku. I was managed by Paul Le Guen. I spent 7 seasons in the English Premier League before moving to Scotland, where I played with 2 different clubs. I am Yusuf Malumbu.
Yusuf Malumbu. What gave it away, Gordon, apart from possibly seeing the sheet lying in the office beforehand? Other than that, what was the clue that gave it away?
I'm not even going to answer that. That is, do you
You're
know
not going to
something?
dignify me with a response.
No, I'm not. I'm not even encouraging you anymore. It just disgusts me, Tom, sometimes use people in here.
Anyway, which clue gave it away for you?
I'm not telling
you. Well, that makes you look more innocent.
I don't really care.
He's guilty.
You know for a fact I didn't see that sheet. I'm finished with these.
Okay. Well done to Michael Donati in third place, Craig Smith in second, and Scott Connie, who was the winner of the second half teaser. Well done, Scott Connie. Will we get some team news off Dave Galloway at Pittodrie? Take it away, Dave.
Yeah, a big test of character for Aberdeen here this evening, Gordon, after their brilliant start to the season came to an abrupt halt last weekend with Celtic handing them that Hampden hiding. Spirits have been good in training this week. There's been a good response to their 6-0 thrashing as the Dons strive to bounce back straight away. Jimmy Delaney says they've been working on a few things, including some mental aspects. Another capacity crowd will pack into Pittodrie, which is sold out for the fourth successive home game. Victory would put Aberdeen back on top of the league, perhaps only until tomorrow. But Dundee won a very entertaining clash at home to Kilmarnock 3-2 last weekend after trailing 2-0. They're on a high after that one, and they ran the Dons very close, remember, at Dens Park in September, and were unlucky to lose 2-1. They were worthy of at least a point that day. And Tony Docherty's men will fancy the chances, certainly, of piling more misery on their hosts. Let's take a look at the teams then. And Aberdeen make a couple of changes. In come Clarkson and Palaversa for McGrath and Helton and Nielsen. So it's Dimitar Mitov in goals. A back four of Nicky Devlin, Slobodan Rubizic, Gavin Malloy and Jack McKenzie. The sitters Graham Shinnie and Ante Palaversa, with Toby Keskinen, Leighton Clarkson and Duke behind the main man up top. Tonight, Esther Sockler. Subs for the Dons: Doohan, Nisbet, McGarry, Bissowin, Morris, Milne, McDonald, Ambrose and Stewart. Dundee, a couple of changes for them as well. In come McGee and Mulligan, out drop Portales and Ingram. So John McCracken is in goals. Looks like a back three of Ryan Astley, Jordan McGee and Clark Robertson. Midfield, Josh Mulligan, Lyle Cameron, Mo Silla and Ziad Larkesh, with Seb Palmer-Holden and Oluwaseun Adewumi supporting Simon Murray in attack. The D's substitutes are Sharp, Ingram, Tiffany, Main, Finn Robertson, Kumetio, Braybrook and Portales. Match referee David Dickinson, and in VAR, Alan Muir.
Really looking forward to that game. Give us your brief thoughts and we'll obviously build up when it gets a bit closer.
I think Dave nailed it right away when he said it's a test of character for Aberdeen. 6-0 battering from Celtic in the Premier Sports Cup semi-final last weekend. They have no option but to fight back, get a win tonight. Otherwise people will say, oh, the start of the decline.
I fancy them big time tonight. I don't know, sorry Matt, I really do. I know that they get a battering, but I think they've got the character. I think they've got the right manager. He won't get carried away with that. He'll forget all about it now. It's time to move on. Great opportunity to go top of the league tonight. So, and they're at home to Dundee, and there'll be another terrific atmosphere at Pittodrie. So I fancy Aberdeen to bounce back.
Yeah, I fancy them as well, but it's just another test for them. We keep seeing this every week because it's something new, and coming off the back of that disappointment, this group together with manager haven't tasted disappointment this season until last week. So how do they react? But again, their players, if they play anything like they've been doing up until the Celtic game, then they'll be fine today.
Looking forward to it. We'll build up to that one in a bit more detail once the 3 o'clocks are done. We're definitely looking for you to get involved in the phones very soon, reacting to today's results, performances and talking points. Then on to tomorrow. Celtic fans, does Kilmarnock still fill you with a bit of trepidation, or have you shown that you can, when in your game, deal with that very comfortably? Carter Vickers and Trusty didn't train yesterday. Is that a concern for you? Would you rotate the team given the busy schedule recently? And then Rangers fans, you know the first one. Is James Tavernier to start the game or not? Give us your thoughts ahead of the home game against Hearts, and anything else that's in there, we'll do it all on the phones. Hibs fans are leaving. Hugh, stand is more than half empty. An air of acceptance, Fraser Wishart says, which is sometimes worse than anger, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Acceptance means you see no hope, and when fans see no hope, clubs have to respond.
Yeah, we'll see if any late drama can take place, but it seems a long way off. Just to round off the discussion about the Masters, Mark, I always say, to give you all a bit of credit, I like to be balanced. If people want to stick up for you, I'll read that as well. Matondo says he actually thinks we are being harsh on you.
Yeah,
he says listening to that Dundee United team, he thinks you definitely will win the ugliest team award.
And you're a captain.
Matondo.
You're a skipper.
Oh, listen to
red face Wilson.
Get a photo of Matondo. Send in a photo of Matondo of your face in. Let's judge you.
I'm thinking some of the other, Pedro Mendes will be looking a million money. I noticed Aberdeen have got Lee Miller. He's going to have the old seal of the silver fox swept back.
But they've all got their absolute mutants as well. Think of Chris Boyd and think of, all them.
Are you starting to ugly shame people?
Well, I'm being ugly shamed on here.
I bet there's a reason for that. Big pointed face there.
That comment will
pointed face.
That comment will have its way to Chris Boyd by 5:30, and he'll be on to me.
I know. I didn't mean that. It was only because he was in my line.
There he is on the telly. I think he's looking alright.
He's looking good.
A big beard,
bit thin on top, but good.
Blair Henderson scored for Spartans again, a man who's scored a lot but has maybe had a bit of a dry spell this season. 4-0 Spartans, 3 on there. Again, Gordon, I'm going to be fair to you as well. And no, genuinely really fair this time, and you're going to love this because I've been giving you a hard time all afternoon. This could be your big moment.
Oh, go.
You heard about this?
No.
You heard about, I'm going to take you off to another continent here. You ever heard of, hold on, I've got a goal I need to tell you about.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's a goal for St Johnstone. Jack Sanders with a header from a corner. It looks like a late equaliser. We're into it, 4 added on, and St Johnstone have equalised back from 2-0 down. We said a bit of debate. Were Motherwell harshly treated with the penalty that St Johnstone got their first one from? Maybe that set things in motion, and it is now 2-2 good game though.
Yeah, a good point for Simo Valakari if he gets out of there with a 2-2. They took off Andy Halliday. When you take off Andy Halliday, you pay the price.
Yeah, a free header in the box as well. That will really frustrate Stuart Kettlewell, I'm sure.
Nothing worse than losing a late goal. You're 2-0 up at home.
VAR check for handball on that goal.
Now the fingers are crossed.
Well, it depends, obviously. If it's Jack Sanders, any touch on his hand in a punishable area, so like below the t-shirt line or whatever, would rule the goal out.
It'd be a sickener for St Johnstone, but terrific news for Motherwell. So we'll just have to wait and hope.
Right. No goal. The goal doesn't stand. Motherwell maintain their 2-1 lead.
They took off Andy Halliday. They were quite right.
See, VAR drama with the penalty, and then it bails you out. Maybe it does all balance itself out in the end. So heading into the latter stages, a let off for Motherwell. They'll be desperate to not let that be a sign of things to come in the closing stages. We do have a late goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's just to add the icing really for Dundee United. 3-0 against Ross County. They have cruised it this afternoon, and fair play to them. They'll be giving a new contract to Jim Goodwin every week if it has this knock-on effect. Owen Sturton with the goal. First touch, which is always nice. 17 years of age. Brilliant. What a story. Right, you ready?
Yeah.
You've been praised for this.
Come on, I'm
Ever
going to
heard of the
slaughtered.
journalist Tim Vickery?
Never.
He's a specialist in
South American football.
American football. Okay.
Right, okay.
He tweeted in the early hours, round about midnight in fact, Celtic fans might be interested to know that Bernabe is proving a sensation in Brazil with Internacional. One journalist, unaware that he's Argentinian, even wanted him to be called up by Brazil.
There you go. I know a player when I see
You backed this guy.
Told you.
We all ridiculed him, and he's about to get a Brazil call up, and he's not even Brazilian. That's how good he is.
His plane just landed in the wrong country. It was unfortunate. I seen something in him. Listen,
you're a talent spotter.
Exactly. I've
seen
made
his
a
twin
terrific
brother.
career.
That's what you seen.
What do you mean?
Are Celtic
because that wasn't the
they've
right
still
player.
got him.
Still the parent club.
Yeah, they're talking about millions for him.
Celtic will end up getting millions for Bernabe, and the only man who saw it was Gordon Dalziel.
Yeah, there you go.
The only one who saw his potential.
Well, surely Celtic would want him back.
Because as Gordon says,
Wrong
probably
country.
the best. If you think he can't work out for you, but then he somehow does enough to get you a few £1 million, then that's the That's the dream scenario in many ways.
Scored a terrific goal at Dingwall, and that was about it at Celtic.
I think you should be a scout.
I'm the big league.
Wasted.
South American correspondent. Send him there. See how he gets on.
That's a bit far away, son.
You down the Copacabana.
Copacabana.
Edinburgh City 1, Clyde 0 is a full-time result. They are starting to go, not in the games that have got VAR. That tends to be the way of it. We edge a bit closer to 5 o'clock. Still looking for you to get in touch on the phone lines and just let us know what is on your mind, whether it is today's games, tomorrow's games, something from midweek. We will do it all, so give us a shout. Mark, will that be a frustrating one? Partick Thistle 1,
I think so.
Wraith Rovers 1 full time.
Yeah, of course, didn't get beat. I think that's 5 games unbeaten or something like that. But when you take the lead home game, of course it's frustrating. But as I said, they're on a decent wee run just now, Thistle. Yep, 3 wins, 3 draws.
Keeps them in there in the top 4.
Take it.
Yeah.
Hugh, I wonder if this is.
No, it doesn't. Queen's Park.
Is this
Queen's Park 1? Yeah.
I was going to say, is this the David Gray factor? The fact that it's him, because they're heading for disaster here.
Yeah.
But it's empty. You know, there's not that baying for blood bit.
Yeah.
Because it's him.
In a sense, I agree with you. The emptiness of the stadium, though, visibly highlights the trouble you're in.
For sure. Full time Tannadice, David Friel.
Yeah, full-time Gordon, Dundee United 3, Ross County 0. I think it's been a perfect 24 hours for Jim Goodwin. New contract yesterday and 3 points today. Lucas Stevenson, Sam Dalby and 17-year-old Owen Sturton scored second half goals to secure a deserved win over Ross County, and it means Dundee United are now level on 19 points with Rangers, albeit they have played 2 games more. They were really good, United. The first half weren't many clear-cut chances for either team, but Jim Goodwin's side came out flying for the second half. Nico Severos thought he'd grabbed the opener, he crashed a shot off the upright. Minutes after the break, County get away with that one, but United then took the lead in 57 minutes. Ball was worked out to Will Ferry on the left. His terrific cross was perfect for Lucas Stevenson, found the bottom corner with a brilliant diving header. United piled on pressure as they chased a second. County responded, they sent on Eamon Brophy in the front 3, they had a go, but United then killed the game 70 minutes. Such a simple goal. David Runske, he lobbed the ball over the top. There seemed to be a mix-up between the defence and goalkeeper Ross Laidlaw. The Ross County keeper then appeared to slip, and Sam Dalby was able to run through, slide the ball past him for his 4th goal in 5 games. And then at the death, what a moment for young Owen Sturton. Born in 2007, only 17. He came off the bench in 91 minutes, and with his first touch he was in the right place at the back post to make it 3-0. He was mobbed by his teammates. Dundee United are doing a lap of honour just now. Full time, Dundee United 3, Ross County 0.
Not finished yet at Hibs. They have scored, so it's 2-1 now. Nicky Cadden penalty. Let's go and get a full-time picture from Fir Park.
And it's finished Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1. It looked as if Motherwell would cruise to the 3 points Gordon when they led 2-0 at half time, but the second half was filled with VAR controversy and a lifeline for St Johnstone that was snatched away from them deep into the 4 added minutes. Well, took the lead in 20 minutes. Tawanda Maswanisi rising at the back post to head home from Marvin Kaletas cross. The move started in his own half by the skipper Lennon Miller. A pass to Steve Seddon, a long ball to free wing back Kaleta down the right, and he picked out Maswanisi for a header for the opening goal. It was 2-0 in 34 minutes, just moments after Motherwell with a great move involving Miller and Ewan Wilson. His cross to Apostolos Tomatolopoulos, but a great save by Josh Rees. And Johnson thought to get away with it, but the ball just turned into the box by Maswanisi, and there was Tom Sparrow in for the suspended Liam Gordon to net and make it 2-0. At that stage Motherwell were cruising. They started the second half brightly as well, but then the game almost turned in 58 minutes. A penalty handball decision against Motherwell's Andy Halliday. Referee Ross Hardy sent to the pitch side monitor by the VAR Greg Aiken. He had a long look. It was at close range. It looked a harsh call, but it was a penalty nonetheless, and Saints skipper Nicky Clark sent goalkeeper Ask Nogsborough the wrong way. St Johnstone pushed hard. They sent on Mackenzie Kirk. They sent on top scorer Benji Kimpioka. They even handed a debut to Bojo Mizilic in the last few moments, and they thought they had got parity just as the 4 added minutes went on. A corner on the right, swung into the near post. Big Jack Sanders up for the bag, booming the ball into the box. We thought it was a header. It turned out it was a handball. Once again, VAR Greg Aiken telling referee Ross Hardy the goal disallowed, and Simo Valakari on his return to Fir Park denied the most dramatic of late points. Big win for Motherwell. Motherwell 2, St Johnstone 1.
Motherwell fans, give us a call. Tell us how hard done by Andy Halliday was with the handball, but it's a good win in the end. Incredible scenes at Easter Road. Heading into the 90 minutes, Hibs are 2-0 down. People suggesting that's David Gray's job on the line. They score a penalty. They've scored again to equalise in the 95th minute, but it is subject to a VAR check. It would be a Nicky Cadden double if it stands, and absolutely incredible, and it's no goal. It is offside, Hugh. These are the margins that managers are living with.
When you miss a penalty, as Hibs did through Martin Boyle, that's your fault. Offside, I suppose you could say that's your fault as well, but it is cruel. Football can be cruel, as the Dazzler and Mark Wilson know, and that is cruel in the extreme. But Fraser Wishart telling us that Easter Road had emptied anyway. The fans, a visible demonstration of a support who have no belief in what's going on at the club. It's torture for David Gray, the manager, and we now await the final whistle to see what the reaction is.
And Fraser reckons it must have been someone in front of the keeper, not Nicky Cadden, which is never an easy one, because you really have to try and establish, are they in the line of sight and all that sort of stuff. So those can be tricky ones. And I'll tell you what, if Hibs are genuinely hard done by again, that would be too much to take for a David Gray.
You know what they say in football, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And at the moment, luck has deserted David Gray entirely.
To be fair, hearing that it looks more likely to be the right call than the wrong, so you need to wait and see what David Gray thinks of it. If it's the right decision, then you can't really grumble, and it does look like Hibs will head for defeat. But what late drama, just when it looks like they would be the ones to finally produce something in a positive sense late on. I think not only is he in front of the keeper, it actually hits the player in the offside position, so I don't think there's any real grumbling to be done, and he's like 5 yards offside. So these are the breaks that I suppose don't go your way when you're down there, and Hibs are certainly down there. They're going to finish another Saturday. They're going to head into the international break, the November international break no less, at bottom of the table, unless something changes in the next 10 seconds, which it may well do. Quickly, Gordon, an important win for Motherwell.
Great win, Gordon. That was a bit scary at the end there when St Johnstone get back into it 2-1. Good reaction after half time, and then we're thinking 2-2 be disappointing for Stuart Kettlewell, but it was ruled offside.
Full time at Easter Road, Fraser.
It's difficult to know where to start. It was Hibernian 1, St Mirren 2. What an end to the game. In recent weeks, we spoke about it before the game, Hibs have been on the receiving end of late goals that have cost them points, and they were 2-0 down to 2 Conor McMenamin first half goals, when in 93rd minute Nicky Cadden scored a penalty. 90 seconds later, the winger hit a right foot shot that deflected off, it looked like a teammate, into the back of the net. Hibs fans thought that he had scored a goal, but it wasn't to be. VAR checked it and gave offside for the teammate getting the touch on the ball. But what an end to a game that was just petering out, because Hibs fans' mood was clear from the start. It was simmering. It was loud booing when Conor McMenamin scored the first. It was louder when he scored the second, and you have to say they just didn't get going at all. Martin Boyle missed a penalty which kind of summed up the whole occasion. But St Mirren, have to talk about them, they thoroughly deserved their win. 2 goals in the first half from Conor McMenamin, and they were in control of the game. The first in the 16th minute, a lovely cross to the left from Scott Tanzer was swept in by McMenamin from 8 yards. Then in second and 31 minutes, we robbed Warren O'Hora 35 yards out as a centre-back hesitated. He ran unchallenged into the box to score. Wasn't a great strike with his right foot, and I thought Bursic should have done better. The story for him was the first half. Stray passes and mistakes. Eli Ewan did hit the post. You could feel the tension from kick-off and the fans booing throughout the first half. David Gray reacted. 3 subs at half-time. Bashiri, Nicky Cadden, Levitt on, O'Hora, Triantis and Kwon off. And you wondered, could Hibs come out and throw everything at St Mirren? But little change in the early stages, and not much of St Mirren attack either at this stage, but they were comfortable at the back and the crowd were fairly quiet. The game swung, you thought, in Hibs' way. In 63 minutes, Martin Boyle burst into the box on the right hand side. He was clearly fouled by Mark O'Hara, but just inside the box after a VAR check, Boyle stepped up. It was a poor penalty, didn't strike it well, low to the keeper's right, and it was such a poor strike that Balcom actually held on to the ball, and that seemed to take it out of the Hibs players. Sitting uncomfortable at the back, and as Hibs pushed forward, I think Stephen Robinson will be disappointed his team didn't take advantage of the breakaways to get a third goal, and they were almost made to pay, I just say, in stoppage time. 93 minutes gone, they did get a goal. Joe Newell tried his luck from 25 yards, I hit Gogic, and the referee gave a penalty. Gogic was quite a distance away, and it looked like it did strike his hand. and Nicky Cadden stepped up to send the keeper the wrong way, and all of a sudden the few Hibs fans that were left were on their feet, and 90 seconds later Eli Yuan on the right hand side, it wasn't a great cross, it was behind everybody, but Nicky Cadden came off the left hand side, struck it with his right foot, and it deflected into the back of the net, and Hibs fans thought they had scored the equaliser. There was ecstasy around this ground, but then of course the dreaded VAR check, and it clearly hit a teammate, I think it might be Sean McCurdy, in front of goal, and he was a couple of yards offside, so referee Ian Snedden said no goal. International break ahead, and you can't help but wonder what the next couple of week period holds for David Gray and the hierarchy at Hibs, because this was a poor performance that they almost snatched a point out of it. Simon back on track, excellent performance, thoroughly deserved win, 7 points from 3 games and back into the top 6. Full time at Easter Road, Hibernian 1, St Mirren 2.
Well, what does that mean, Hugh Keevins?
It means that the board have a weekend to think about where they go from here. The crowd deserted the team and the club, therefore. The ground was empty by full time. They're bottom. They're not the only one in trouble. Hearts are only a point better off. St Johnstone are only a point better off than Hearts. Therefore, there's a wee log jam down at the bottom. But the question that has to be answered: can David Gray halt this seemingly irreversible decline?
Yeah, you've got to say big trouble for David Gray, because results are one thing, when the fans start leaving early is another. They vote with their feet sometimes, and the international break's another thing as well. So all adds up to troublesome times, I think, for the Hibs manager.
You can't keep losing games as a manager. Doesn't matter if you're a hero in the fans' eyes. At the end of the day, it's all about results driven business, Gordon, and just now Hibs aren't getting their results. Things are going against them. They might just look at the obviously international break, and they might just look at changing things.
Come on then, 01419511025 Hibs fans, why not give us a call? Is that the end of the road? Where does this turn around? Let us know your thoughts. If you want to reflect on the other games today, how are you Motherwell fans feeling? That's a really important win. Some VAR drama both ways in that one, if you want to comment on it. St Mirren, of course, you're heading back through along the M8 with the points in the bag. Aberdeen Dundee still to come. What about tomorrow then? Starting first of all at Kilmarnock, Celtic fans, is that still a venue that sends shivers down your spine the way it used to? Or is this Celtic team just so far beyond that you're confident going anywhere? What should the team look like? Would you change things up on the back of Europe? Give us all your thoughts there. And same theme to you Rangers fans. Are you starting James Tavernier tomorrow, yes or no? All your thoughts on the games, we'll do them next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What are you thinking about today's action, tomorrow's game still to come, or any of the week's big talking points? Let's hear your answers on 01419511025. If it is about today, I think the story of the day is Hibs clearly losing again, bottom of the table, now a point behind Hearts, who will play again tomorrow. So how are you feeling, Hibs fans? Give us all your thoughts there, please. Motherwell fans, you'll be pretty happy with the outcome, I would imagine, sitting up there level in points in third. And as for tomorrow, Celtic fans, are you changing the team? Are you mixing things up? You've got defensive, not injuries, but concerns perhaps. And then Rangers fans, does James Tavernier stay out the team, come back into the team? What are you thinking tomorrow? Hugh's a Motherwell fan. Take it away, Hugh.
Evening, guys. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, good. I'm surprised I've actually got a voice for a talk. That was the worst negative performance I've ever seen in a Mullow strip, and I don't blame anybody else apart from Stuart Kettlewell, and it's happening every single week now. Happened on Sunday, the second half of Rangers, we sat back. Happened today against St Johnstone. We go 2-0 up, which was massively against the run of play. How St Johnstone's not come away with anything in that game is beyond belief, and they can feel hard done by. This is all down to Stuart Kettlewell and his negative tactics. You can call the substitutions every single game. The minute he's going to bring them on, nothing changes. He plays Stam up front himself. I don't understand it. He put in some shift and he pulls them off. I think, where have you been here? There's other Ewan Wilson needs a rest, and I feel sorry for the young man. He's playing every single game. He needs a break, and you can see that. And I'm just sick and tired of watching negative football all the time now.
It sounds very much like Motherwell lost today, though, Hugh. And I know you are talking about the performance, but you know, a result that takes Motherwell on to 19 points, level with Rangers, level with Dundee United, a game in hand over them. I'm sure room for improvement, but is there any room for sort of praise at the results?
Well, you can praise the team for winning, but
it's quite an important thing, though, isn't it? To be fair.
Yes, it is. But again, I don't go there to sit and watch teams. I think we had a 39% possession at home against St Johnstone isn't good enough. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. And the negative tactics, one up front, not good enough. Why are we not playing with two up front?
No, listen, I get that, of course, but what I'm saying is the results are good enough, though, aren't they? More than good enough.
Yeah, but I know it's a result-driven business.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm sorry, it's meant to be an entertainment business as well. I pay money. I want entertained. I go and watch football, not the ball getting lumped up the park after 60 minutes. Just lump it. Isn't good enough. Not good enough.
Yeah, well, obviously Hugh's a bit disappointed, but he's right in what he says there. He pays the money, he wants entertained. I think first and foremost, the most important thing is probably getting 3 points. If you can get entertained at the same time, I think it's fantastic. Of course it is. Look, I watched Motherwell last week in the semi-final, and I've got to say I thought their tactics were very poor. I thought their substitutions were poor, but they've got to bounce back. They were leading 2-0. They could have got caught out today, maybe just getting a point. But maybe Hugh, look, everybody's got opinion. I think he's been a bit hard on the team if you're winning. If they weren't winning and putting in the performances that Hugh's talking about, then I think you would have every right to come on and have a real go at the manager.
If you are a club of Motherwell size with relatively low income, and you are as high up the league table as they are, that is a good thing. If you can add top class entertainment to it, that's even better. However, a club in Motherwell's position, the priority at the start of every season is to remain in the division. And if sometimes it's winning ugly, and even if in Hugh's estimation it's always winning ugly, then it's better than being a club of Hibs size with a higher income and cannot get a break anywhere and bottom of the league with ramifications to come.
See, just on Hugh's point there, and I think everybody gets caught up with this. We want better entertainment. We're negative. Throw two up front. There's not many teams in the league that play with two up front
in the world.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that if you throw two up front, you're going to get plenty of chances, plenty of entertainment. That's just the way modern football is. And look, Hugh's got every right. At the end of the day, money is important to people that go out there. Of course they want entertained. Everybody does. But I just think that just now for Motherwell, picking up those 3 points after a disappointment of last week's semi-final, I think that's a good 3 points.
I don't think you'll be alone, Hugh. I think loads of people prefer more entertainment. Would you take finishing a few places lower if the football was better?
Look, I'm not getting... my point is, and you're not going to get in. I'm a Mull fan. I've got to be realistic here. We're not going to be world superstars. I appreciate that. It's a roller coaster every single season for us. We're up one season, down the next season. I just want to understand what goes through Stuart Kettle's mind, especially the subs. Now, I'm not even want to talk about the subs on Sunday. He puts Stankies up front and leaves two strikers on a bench. Phenomenal. There was subs a day that was being made, and he's only making leg for leg, so he's not physically changing. St Johnstone at half time made two attacking subs because they want something out of the game.
But they didn't get something out of the game, though.
Well, if it wasn't for a VAR check, they were getting something out of the game, Gordon.
Yeah, but if my auntie had, etc.
Gordon, with the greatest respect, and I know you're a Motherwell fan, you weren't at the game. You didn't see the setup we done today. The setup was shocking.
No, I don't get. That's the thing. I don't get that. You're more than entitled to want more out of the performance. What I'm saying is this notion that, like, I mean, look at the sub St Johnstone made, but it didn't win them the game. That was all I was pointing out.
From Stuart Kettlewell's perspective, I don't think that there's any chance of Stuart Kettlewell reproaching himself over the way Motherwell played. And it's the classic dilemma. Hugh feels, I'm not being entertained for my money. Stuart Kettlewell feels, I'm keeping this team in the top six. I'm doing my job.
For what it's worth, we all agreed with Hugh last week for sure. I don't think the changes worked at all. I've yet to meet anyone who is a fan of those changes.
See, the end of the day, Gordon, and Hugh's talking about entertainment now. If Stuart Kettlewell is playing good football and entertaining but not getting the results, he's not going to be in a job.
No.
You know, so
it's reality, isn't it?
It's a very hard balance, and I totally take on board, because if I went along and I'm paying good money to watch my team, yes, I want to win, but I want to enjoy the game. I want to enjoy the entertainment. I want to see it's been positive. Sometimes in Motherwell just now, with the amount of injuries and everything that they've got, look, they probably maybe didn't deserve to win the game, but at the end of the day, they got the 3 points, and that's the most important thing for them, I think.
Shows how hard a job it is to be a manager these days, because you get your team top half of the table, you think you're doing a good job, but of course you've got fans who want the full package. And I'm not saying Hugh's wrong, because he's right, as an entertainment business and he pays the money. It's difficult to get the balance, but if I'm being honest, if I'm in Stuart Kettlewell's shoes, what would I rather, the points or being entertainment? I'd take the points all day long. Of course we'll strive, every coach strives to get both, but almost impossible to get both.
Lots of Motherwell fans actually getting involved right now on the discussion, I can see, so that's fine. Keep the calls coming, keep the tweets coming in as well. I think we're going to speak to Ian, who's on the line, is he? He's not quite come onto my screen yet, but I can see he's there somewhere. Can we get Ian and Wishaw on? I know he's there somewhere. Ethan's on the other line. How are you, Ethan?
Hello?
Hi Ethan, got you now, take it away.
So, also one of my questions was about the VR, and I think it's a good change for Scottish football, because I think there was a lot of theories of VR when it first came to men's, and I think we're actually starting to learn how to use it properly, because personally I was at the game there, that's me just leaving, I had no clue that was a handball. I had not a clue, and if there wasn't any VR, I would have walked away from that game not annoyed about that handball. And it's just how we've got that opportunity to have that, I think is really unappreciated, because now we're starting to realise how it's worked, and we've got the staff and we'll learn how to use it so much better. Look at that there, we've just figured out there, and it's just gave us 3 points. And that boy came on there, Howard, our son, talking about it. I think we've done okay. We had Stephen O'Donnell, McGinn injured. Our defence, we had a red card as well that couldn't play. We played football on the best ability that Stuart Kettlewell could. Obviously Sunday was as bad, but to come into this game from a loss to a win and still keep men's, we're a low income club. I think we're doing okay in this league, to be honest with you.
You're going to love VAR if it gets you a win at the end.
Yeah.
But I suppose that it's a fair point from Ethan. Those are the kind of the ones that it was brought in for. You're not allowed to score with any part of you're not allowed to score with your hand, and that can be difficult to spot. So you need VAR. It hits Jack Sanders' hand and goes in. You're right, nobody realises it. VAR spots it, rules it out, and then you don't really get any grumbles. It's got loads of flaws and loads of issues, but that wouldn't be one of them. That probably is what it's brought in for.
Yeah, it was meant to create an environment where you get more things right than you get wrong. Now, it's a dramatic end to the game at Fir Park, and it's cost St Johnstone, but they didn't have a legitimate goal, therefore the cost is minimal. Go to Easter Road, Hibs equalise, they think, in the most dramatic fashion, in a fashion that could change the whole course of the season where David Gray is concerned. But VAR proves, and I underline proves, it was offside. So you're cutting out error, and sometimes it will be for you and sometimes it will be against you, but if you embrace VAR, you have to embrace good and bad.
I think Ethan's second point is fair on Stuart Kettlewell. Points out some of the injuries Motherwell have had, and you look at that long list, then you look at coming off the back of the disappointment of the Hampden defeat and the exertions that took out the squad that he's got, then this turns into a very good win, especially when St Johnstone have nothing to lose, and they do make the attacking subs, and 2-0 sometimes a difficult score to deal with going into that second period. I think he'll sit back and reflect on it tomorrow and think, brilliant, okay, it might have not been entertaining, we might have had to give up loads of the ball, and Valakari's changed the style, St Johnstone have, so that's to be expected. If ultimately you come out of this week with 3 points and you're sitting level with Rangers, that's good going for this stage in the season. And when you get the players back and you get a full squad, then maybe you're entitled to have a go that Motherwell aren't free flowing and it's not entertaining.
Are you a bit happier then, Ethan, with the result rather than being too concerned about the performance?
to be frankly honest, I'm a Motherwell fan. As long as we score, we get the points. That's entertaining for me. We're not Barcelona, mate. We're no Rangers. We're not going to sit there and special on the ball. Whatever works, you use it. You don't sit there and... I'm getting my season ticket. I would rather Motherwell do good in the league rather than sitting there doing fancy stuff on the ball, man. I don't understand his point there, but everybody's got the right to their own opinion, like you said. But I'm totally entertained. If I'd rather see my team doing good in the league, we've still got 2 games in hand, or 2 games or something like that, and we're staying there. Like last season, we had like a big loss streak. As long as we're winning, whatever works. It's what Graham Alexander done as well. It wasn't the most entertaining, and fans get annoyed, but he got his top 6, got into Europe, and he sadly left, and he resigned. He still got his whatever Kettle can do to win games. I think that's how it should be done. It's nothing fancy. It should just be the basic: get the points, and that's it with the money you've got.
Fair enough, Ethan. It's a passionate take. Thank you very much. What about Ian, who is on the other line in Wishaw? Ian,
how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Just kind of some of the guys just off the phone there. I think the first guy to come on the phone, I don't know what he's expecting. I think at the start of the season, if you'd said to any Motherwell fan, we'd be sitting 5th in the league, joint 3rd, and get to a cup semi-final, you'd have bitten your hand off for it. Okay, it's not always pretty, but we're effective. Show me a team in this league that plays good football. Hearts probably play good football, but they're second bottom in the league. So I think people need to kind of lower their expectations of what to play, 4-3-3 flowing football. We've done that under Stevie Hamill. We get beat every week. Kettlewell comes in. He's made us. We're hard to beat. I know Celtic put 3 passes a couple of weeks ago, but generally we're a hard team to beat. Nobody turns us over easy. We're competitive every single game. We're picking up points most weeks now, so I don't really see what the problem is.
Yeah, I think the truth will always be in the middle. I don't think at the core of Hugh's initial point, and there are loads of Motherwell fans trying to phone in and disagree, but I think the core of it is perfectly valid. Everybody wants entertainment. But then you would take Ian's point, like, if this was a league that was like full of teams that play all this amazing stuff, and then Motherwell were sort of kicking lumps out of everyone and kicking it long and scraping their way to results, you might pine for something greater. But that probably does just sum it up. You get into the second international break where you are, you kind of know what your limitations are, and you probably take it.
I'll never forget Alan Burrows standing in this studio when he was Motherwell's chief exec, and he said that at the start of every season, the only priority was for Motherwell to stay in the division. Now, not only are Motherwell in the division, they're in the top half of it, and
7 points inside the top half of it.
Yeah, and it might be the case that Hugh, the first caller, some people have their preferences. They like that manager, they don't like this manager, and he maybe feels that Stuart Kettlewell is not for him. However, the bottom line, the absolute bottom line here, is that they are at the positive end of the table, and if you can throw in entertainment every now and then, good. If it's pragmatic stuff, you win ugly, then that's equally fine, because you are at the optimistic half of the table.
We heart and mouth moment at the end, Ian, with what you thought would have been an equaliser for St Johnstone.
Oh, definitely. I've not seen the penalty, but I've heard that was lucky for St Johnstone, so it kind of evens itself out. I think today we were a better team after the first 15 minutes. If they don't get the penalty, I fully expect we go and score 2 or 3 goals, but as soon as it goes 2-1, then you kind of, it gets nervous. Everybody inside the stadium gets a bit nervous, and then they equalise, and you think, well, it's going to be one of their days, but sometimes your luck's for you with VAR, sometimes it goes against you, so we'll take the 3 points.
Thank you very much to Ian on the line. 01419511025. Keep your thoughts coming on today's games. What about tomorrow? What would you do there? Give us your thoughts. We'll do them next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. Give them a call on 01419511025 or tweet at Clyde SSB and let us know what you made of today's football, what you're thinking ahead of tomorrow, or if there's any big talking points from the week that you want to catch up on. We are here for you. And this is the beauty of live radio and the phone in. Caller phones in and says, hated that Motherwell performance, or words to that effect, and then 3, 4, 5 guys phone in to try and disagree, and all of a sudden you're half an hour deep into debate about Motherwell's playing style that you did not expect. That's why we love the show.
There's only one kind of football: winning football. And Kettlewell wins more than he loses, and Motherwell are top 6. I have spoken.
I think you're always entitled to ask for more. I think just maybe at the right times and the right way, and lots of, we've all got our take on it. The big story is Hibs. As much as we're all now getting into the Motherwell debate, I just wonder what David Gray is going to say after that one.
You've got 8 points out of a possible 36, and you're a Hibs manager. You're struggling to win games. You're losing goals late on. When you're in command of a game, you can't see a game out. The international break's coming up. It gives you a bit of a breather, especially the people upstairs. Going to be interesting to see what news comes out of Easter Road this week. I think there'll be a movement somewhere along the line. Look, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but you cannot keep going on not winning games, especially if you're a Hibs manager, because Hibs see themselves as a big team, and if you're not picking up points, you're sitting at the bottom of the league. The fans are emptying the stadium before the full-time whistle. You've got a problem.
I was going to go back to Pataudry there and check in quickly just ahead of kick-off, but there's going to be a minute's silence. It's that time of year, of course, so I won't interrupt that.
But when you look at the bottom of the Premiership, the bottom 5 clubs from Kilmarnock, Ross County, St Johnstone, Hearts, Hibs, they're separated by 4 points. But the emphasis is all on David Gray, because people have a notion that it's just not happening. But as I say, the bottom 5 separated by 4 points. Hearts are only a point better off than Hibs, and I wouldn't put 2 bob on Hearts against Rangers at Ibrox tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I'd have to agree. And you look at mid-table as well. Is there a wee split there coming? St Mirren up to 15 points, so those been cast adrift. To say, have got a big job in their hand. If you're Hibs, the budget always comes into it. Then you have to look at that and who's ahead of you, and is it possible to catch it? Are they going to be easy to catch at this stage? Because relegation, you just can't think about that if you're a club the size of Hibs. You really can't. And when you're sitting bottom of the table in an international break in November, then it becomes a very difficult choice. But for David Gray, I feel from a young manager, the interviews are taking on the same form after every game. I feel for him, because what else is he going to say tonight? He said it all before. And like I said before, sometimes you think, where am I going to turn? I've changed the personnel. Does that bring a change? No, it doesn't really. Same mistakes over and over again. It's going to be an interesting time. I kind of know what Hibs fans will think it at the minute, but it's up to the owners.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big moment in time for Hibs. Now, they may turn round and just, look at David Gray and think, no, we're going to see this storm out, hopefully, and we're going to go with David Gray. He's a legend. Would the fans give him more time? It looks like they're not, because they're leaving in their droves. Look, I like David Gray. I like the way he comes out and he approaches things, and he doesn't go around the house. He says it as it is, but unfortunately it's a results driven game, and he's got to pick up points, and at this moment in time he's not doing that.
I wonder to what extent the Black Knights group, led by Bill Foley, the Bournemouth owner, will get involved in this debate, because, as I say, Hearts are only a point better off, but there seems to be a feeling that Hibs are the club in trouble. And Bill Foley, on record, as saying that he didn't want David Gray to be the manager. He's invested £6 million. Will there be further investment? It's all part of this growing story at Easter Road, which you can't help but feel will develop over the course of the international break.
But Hearts been in trouble. You're right, Hugh, only a point ahead. They changed their manager a couple of weeks ago, so that's put to the back burner, and David Gray's the next one along that you then think, well, 2 huge clubs, of course the focus is going to be on him, and David Gray will be well aware of that. So yeah, interesting time over the next few days for Hibs and their manager.
Let's go to this. Tell you what, I know we debated with Hugh, but I'm going to thank Hugh, because this is the most Motherwell fans we've ever had phoning in after a run-of-the-mill league game against St Johnstone. It's wall to wall every time I look at this screen. Stephen is a Motherwell fan as well on the line. How are you, Stephen?
I'm not bad. I was quite happy today. My first game, and I got into it because my uncle was quite into it, and he wanted me to do it, so I thought I would just do it for him and just support him.
Well, listen, you go and get your first win. With the debate about the performance, was it a rubbish performance and a good result, or was the performance okay? What was your take?
It was good. I think they did do a wee. Some of them did fall over a wee bit, like just kicking it.
I think that second half maybe it probably tailed off a bit, and that's clearly what sticks in the memory of the bit.
See, when you look at it, and you rightly said, when you're 2-0 down, St Johnstone have nothing to lose, so they can make substitutions, positive substitutions. They get back in the game, puts a little bit of pressure on Motherwell. But the good thing is they showed good character, they've seen it out. It's a good 3 points, especially at home, and it obviously moves them up the table as well. So apart from last Sunday, semi-final at Hampden, I think getting over that disappointment to go and get 3 points today against a St Johnstone team that've got players that can hurt you, of course they have, but I think that's a good 3 points for Motherwell.
The question for Stephen, if it's his first game, will he be back? Will he be back if it's entertainment? Of course you've got to go back, and that is the thing. How do you balance it in terms of entertainment? You're right, Gordon. Winning for people is enough entertainment. Who was it, Ethan, that came on second after Hugh? He says winning is all that matters, because the entertainment is in scoring the goals and taking the 3 points. Hugh's got an opinion, of course, that every fan strives for perfect football that will result in 3 points. But if you win and you stay in the division and you're fighting for those top European places, that's excitement and entertainment for fans going along.
We'll hear from some managers very soon, actually, as it starts coming through. Mentioned Jim Goodwin had a 17-year-old Owen Sturton who came on and scored today, full of praise for the youngster, as you would expect.
I was delighted for him. Listen, he'll get a bit of stick off the boys, no doubt, for coming over to me, but a really proud moment for the kid and for his family, and to score it at that end in front of the home supporters, it's kind of a Roy of the Rovers type stuff, really. But he's since coming into the club 18 months ago now as a full-time player, he's been pretty much with my first team because I think that much of him. He's physically still developing, still got a lot to do in terms of the technical aspect of the game, but I believed he would get an opportunity there in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and no better way to get your first goal on your Premiership debut. 2 yards out, just stick the head on it, and I'm sure he'll remember that moment for a long time.
Is that not allowed? Is that frowned upon in the dressing room if you run over to the manager?
Oh, slaughtered.
Is
you
it,
can't be doing that.
Is that teacher's pet stuff?
Aye, especially if you're a young player. No, working your celebration, don't go to the manager.
What's wrong with these animals?
Great for the young kid.
It's a bitter, 17. Cynical world, and these two are right in it up to their shoulders.
I wouldn't have went to the manager at 17, would you?
Yeah, all day long.
Great from Dundee United. Just it's into their fabric, into their DNA. Bring young players through, give them the chance. Jim's obviously given him a chance as well, a year and a half after coming in full time. So well done, the young man.
Let's round off the Motherwell discussion. Some tweets. Scott says, I think Hugh must have went for a let's say that, the toilet, and missed for 3/4 of the game. 3 points up the road, and we didn't have to suffer Jair Tavares, he says. So
refreshing, Hugh, that you're not the only Hugh that's getting it.
Yeah, that's not like you. We'll get you some stick before the end of the show. Let's see what we can do on that front. Let me just check in to see if there's anything early that you need to know about the game at Pittodrie, and the answer is no. But just to refresh your thought, home win, Aberdeen.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back. It was a disappointing 6-0, especially the way they'd gone up. Everybody for Aberdeen come down in large numbers, fancied them. The way they'd been playing, everything with the new manager, the team were looking great, but Celtic put them with the sword, and Celtic can do that, especially if they hit top form. So they've just got to bounce back today. Home game. I think it'll be a difficult one, but I think they'll win this game today.
Let's go first up tomorrow then, do it in sort of chronological order. Celtic going to Kilmarnock. I pose the questions to the Celtic fans, Mark, and they can give us a call with their answer. For you, is that still a venue that would sort of worry you, or think that there's a risk there for Celtic, or are they not in that place anymore?
Well, I don't think that. I think you need to take the pitch out. I know everybody just goes for the surface, but Celtic have went there and shown that they can play in that surface, no problem. Some eye-catching displays over the years.
Did you quickly on that? Sorry, Brendan Rodgers actually said that yesterday. He laughed at his press conference. He said, "I like almost kind of resigned." He said that I can't moan about the pitch anymore because we won 5-0 there last time and we're brilliant, so I can't moan about it anymore. And he's kind of laughing.
I was going to say that, like, the opposition is a danger, because you look at Kilmarnock. I think they've been up and down this season. You don't know what they're getting after a poor start. They get a few decent results, and then you think, well, there's certainly players that can hurt you. So that's the danger that Celtic have to watch out for, and just not to be complacent after such a high of Tuesday night. I don't think there'll be anything wrong with the legs, because Brendan Rodgers has got a big enough squad to shuffle the pack within that. But it's just coming off that high, being complacent, taking things for granted that they need to avoid tomorrow.
I think Brendan Rodgers would be mortally embarrassed if he went from the high of beating RB Leipzig to dropping points against Kilmarnock. And you're right, the pitch is not a factor. Celtic went there, scored 5 and became league champions last May. It goes one of two ways with Brendan Rodgers. He either makes 6 changes, it doesn't work out, they go a goal down, and then he brings on the heavy artillery from the subs bench and he corrects the original mistake in team selection, or he acknowledges just how good the result and performance against RB Leipzig were, and he goes with, as best as he can, the team that defeated RB Leipzig. If neither Trusty nor Carter Vickers was able to play, I could see a problem, because Liam Scales would then be in beside someone who does not play regularly. But if Scales is beside Trusty or Scales is beside Carter Vickers, no problem, because Scales came on Tuesday night and was just as good as everybody else. There ought not to be any excuse for Celtic, not one excuse under the sun, to go from the absolute high of beating RB Leipzig to being in a position where they can beat Kilmarnock, go 12 points ahead of Rangers, and see if that in any way spooks Rangers at 5 o'clock against Hearts.
I don't think they'll make 6 changes. I think he'll change one or two things about. I wouldn't be surprised if he changed the centre forward. I think Ida may come in there. He's done that before. He'll look at the middle of the park. He's got good options in the middle of the park, Gordon, and he may just change Carter Vickers, obviously with the pitch in mind, if Trusty's fit, and put Scales in.
You do wonder, because Trusty took that sore one during the game, and I think there's no doubt he definitely played through something there, because he knew the size of the game and had to get through it. I'm no medical expert, obviously, so no point in speculating, but I think we'd agree it would be then surprising if that was all fine to then go and play on the pitch the next.
I would think so. It certainly looked like he rolled his ankle, didn't he? And
then everyone knows they're clearly managing Carter Vickers. So I wonder if there, again, I don't know, I wonder if there is a good chance that actually neither of them do make it.
Well, certainly, but I don't think they'll play Carter Vickers
if Trusty's not fit. I think if Trusty's no fit, he plays Carter Vickers.
So you think that then changes Carter Vickers' sort of game management?
Listen, I totally agree with the way Celtic are playing everything in the high, but Kilmarnock are a tough outfit, right? And they've got guys up front that can cause you problems, very strong guys. So I think that Celtic will go down there, look at it. If Trusty's not fit, I think they take a gamble with Carter Vickers. And that there's no doubt. I don't think they can't. I don't think they can leave the two of them out and play someone in beside Scales. I think someone's got to play them,
because that someone would be someone who hasn't played this season.
It would be Stephen Welsh, you would imagine,
who hasn't played this season. So,
what do you think, Celtic fans? How are you feeling confidence-wise? Is every game full of confidence now? Does Killie still hold that slight worry for you? And what about the team? What would you do with it? Similar question on that front to you Rangers fans. Do you start James Tavernier or not tomorrow? How do you feel about the visit of Hearts? Give us a shout.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Let's check in quickly on that game at Pittodrie. There was one cleared off the line a few moments ago. Graham Shinney blocked by Robertson. Astley's been booked. He dragged Sockler down as he tried to burst through. Is there a song lyric in there? Never gonna drag you down. Doesn't work then, does it? Because he did. Still getting reaction from the 3 o'clock games coming in. We're asking you for all your thoughts tomorrow, Celtic fans. Does Kilmarnock still worry you, or are you over that as a venue? What would your defensive pairing be? If there are injury doubts, what would your team be overall? And on that James Tavernier one that we can't get away from, Rangers fans, does he come back in tomorrow, or was Thursday night the start of life without him, or even just for a little bit? I know that sounds very dramatic. No David Gray yet. I mean, Hugh, sometimes that means a lot and sometimes it doesn't.
But
what do you think?
It is a question that you have to answer pretty soon, because that is standard form when he is in talks with the owners, the hierarchy, call it what you will. I would have thought that at 5:46 you might have seen the manager by this time.
Might just be in the dressing room, just having an extended chat.
You're killing the drama. What are you doing?
or taking a moment.
Someone did it was a couple of weeks ago or last week. Sometimes they are just extremely late these days for whatever reason.
I don't think that's a bad thing for a manager like David Gray, who's under pressure. Take a deep breath, kind of sit and think, right, how am I going to address this? Am I going to say the same old things, or can I come out with something a wee bit different? Managers are asked, I think, too quickly to assess things when in the heat of the moment emotions are running high, and they sometimes say the wrong thing. So maybe it's just that.
Maybe now you've got the options there to go through all the analysis and stuff that you wouldn't have had back in your day, Hugh. You had no choice to come in, or maybe there is something in it. Who knows? I think you can only wait and find out what the script is there.
The longer he's not there, the higher the speculation grows.
Is there an actual time frame that the press expect the managers to come out? Or is it just...
remember, the press are always working towards a deadline. Sunday newspaper guys are working towards a deadline. We're trying to get it on here before 6 o'clock, etc.
It's a very little concern to David.
I would make you wait.
I fully understand that, but then we get you back the following week.
I would make you wait.
I'd done that at Ayr United and they slaughtered me the next day.
We get you back the following week.
Slaughtered me.
First time your team loses, right? Savage.
Yeah.
I've actually got
it's dreadful.
Can someone crunch the numbers on this anyway? I don't feel like that the Saturday night sacking is such a thing anymore.
Jim Goodwin got it, as I said.
But that was like, I think wild circumstances. Take Stephen A. Smith talking Edinburgh, all that sort of stuff, similarities. I think he was the Sunday
slept in it, didn't he? Apparently,
I'd rather get done right after a game.
Aye.
On
my way into the dressing room before I even speak to the players, so I can say, see all you.
That was kind of Jim Goodwin, that wasn't it? But I don't think
you just cost me.
It might be absolutely nothing. Might be absolutely nothing in that. So we'll wait and see. What about home comforts for Rangers tomorrow against Hearts, Gordon? What are you thinking there?
I thought their performance the other night was very good, Gordon. They just looked a different team in Europe for some unknown reason, strange reason. I said last week I thought they were a terrible watch at times. I think Rangers fans going to look along Ibrox tomorrow. Hearts are, look, they've got good players, but they're in real trouble sitting down there, second bottom of the league. Played okay on Thursday, but lost the game to a good side. I fancy Rangers to win that, and I don't see Tavernier playing.
Let's ask Stevie his thoughts. Take it away, Stevie.
Well, as I said, I was talking to your producer there. Hi Shug, hi Gordon. How you doing, Gordon?
All good,
good. What was I going to say? No, I'm really raging with these so-called Rangers supporters. Their own Tavernier's back. It wasn't that last year when he scored the winner in the League Cup final, was it? And also his free kicks that he scored and things like that, and I'm going to say as well, way back in the 60s, well, I grew up in the 60s, in the late 60s, when Rangers were going through their slump, when Celtic were doing their 9 in a row, did they turn on John Gregg, the legend? No. Did they, hell? And then in the early 70s, I know, did they? No. And then we get into the 80s and Rangers were going through a bad spell, I know. I mean, Rangers supporters are fickle. They're really fickle. I mean, I suppose Celtic supporters are fickle as well, but I can't get away with this. This guy's a legend. The goals he scored, he's been at Ibrox for 9 years. And okay, he might not be great at defending, but he's brilliant going forward.
Is he still as good going forward, Stevie? That's what some people I think have noticed, that maybe not quite. Because look, over the year, I'm not going to try and rewrite things and argue about what he was doing previously. If you feel really strongly about it, that's fine. But is he still as good going forward?
I think he's great at going forward. I think so. I think Tav's still got a lot to offer Rangers. And all this crap about get him out. A lot of crap. Honestly, I'm really angry at the so-called Rangers supporters that say they stick by the team.
Yeah, I can tell.
It's as old as the hills, though, Stevie. Since you asked, Rangers did sack John Greig when he was the manager.
And also, see, just on that, Stevie did say, he acknowledged that, like, it's a different planet. People's patience is way shorter. You want to add social media into whatever it is, that the way people turn on everything now is different.
Yeah, it's just this way. He's been at Rangers for 9 years. During those 9 years, there has been a culture of failure, broken only by Steven Gerrard winning a league title that was very important to the Rangers supporters. James Tavernier has won a title under Gerrard, a League Cup under Clement, and a Scottish Cup. And for hardcore Rangers supporters, that's simply not enough from their captain. However, he's also lived through a time when Rangers have been in turmoil, utter turmoil, off the park. But as ever, whether it's Hugh, the first caller tonight, who just doesn't like Stuart Kettlewell and the way Motherwell play football, Stevie is trying to defend, and is very decent to do it. He's trying to defend James Tavernier, but that is not the position held by the majority of the Rangers fans.
Just quickly, right on cue, when I said I don't think you get Saturday night sackings anymore, Forfar have binned Ray McKinnon at 5:20 half an hour ago. So they made me eat those words before they even came out. Gordon, I don't mind Stevie's defence, because I think James Tavernier must be going through a really difficult period here, personally. At the same time, I think the more relevant debate, though, is just, is he Rangers' best right back just now? I think really that's it. I mean, Stevie can be angry about things that have been said, which is fine, but I think there's just a really simple question: is he Rangers' best right back at the moment?
No. His form's been, for me, his form has been very poor from the start of the season, Gordon. He doesn't look the same player. I don't think he deserves the criticism he comes in for. I'm quite happy for people to say he shouldn't be in the team. I take that on board, because I agree with that. But I wouldn't be standing slagging Tavernier, because I think for the 9 years, and Hugh touches on a point there, well, for the Rangers he's only won 3. That's not all down to James Tavernier. If there were a power cut at Ibrox tonight, Tavernier would probably get to blame it. I just think he's fairly untreated. I don't think he's given the respect that he should be. I think he's been excellent for Rangers, but we're living in the present. In the present, you ask me a question: is he the best right back just now? The answer's simple: no, he's not.
So would you bring him back into the team tomorrow, Stevie?
Oh, definitely, aye.
Rangers won. Won. It felt for many like a win, because it was a good point away from home in Europe. They did that without him. So does that not show that maybe it's time to look at other options?
I don't agree with that at all. Stand by your captain, stand by your players,
That all sounds really honourable, Mark, but I mean, to what level? So
you can't.
Under all circumstances, or
if Stevie wants his team to do the best they can do, you've got to pick the best players in that position at the current time. James Tavernier been terrific player for Rangers. We keep going over old ground here, but he's simply not playing well. So who is playing well? Sterling did well the other night. Casemiro looks a player. Simple stuff. You play them at the minute. Tavernier will have a part to play, there's no doubt. Bad form, age catching up with him, all that. But at the present time, Philippe Clement has to look after who's the best starting 11 to get the result tomorrow. I don't think Tavernier's in that.
And it might be really easy. Dujon Sterling might not have properly come through the game the other night, although I think Philippe Clement thought he had. But let's say he doesn't, then that's one less consideration, and maybe James Tavernier plays anyway.
I wouldn't have a problem playing Tavernier. At the end of the day, I don't think he's in great form, but that rest midweek, maybe that little bit of competition that he didn't have, because Tavernier was picked every single game he was fit, and he was always fit, to be fair to him. So maybe that wee bit of competition. I still think there's a few games left in Tavernier. I'm not standing here writing him off, but if everybody's fit tomorrow, I don't think he starts the game.
Still no goals to tell you about at Pittodrie. This might surprise you, but at the start it was Dundee very much on top. They had a few decent passages of play. Dukes had a shot that was blocked by McCracken, so Aberdeen starting to tick a bit. Duke again, a good solo run, then a shot saved by McCracken. Maybe
Any sign of David Gray?
Still no sign of David Gray. Again, I don't think that is too out of line from what we've seen on a number of Saturdays, I have to say, but I also don't know that it doesn't mean anything either. Forfar Binder manager at 5:20 tonight. So there you go.
What took them so long?
It can happen. It can happen. Right, sum up today, Hugh Keevins.
Well, dramatic day for David Gray. We don't know the ending of that story yet. We will find out as the hours go by. Very good day for Dundee United, and we look forward now to tomorrow. Motherwell, good day for them. Simo Valakari down at the bottom. I say the bottom 5 clubs are separated by 4 points, but tomorrow the emphasis goes to the top of the league. Aberdeen, before we come on tomorrow, could be 12 points ahead of Rangers, 3 points ahead of Celtic. An awful lot to play for tomorrow.
I know what you're thinking. Sometimes you get to the end of the weekend and think there just wasn't enough Clyde One Super Scoreboard in that weekend. Well, this will not be one of those occasions, because we thoroughly enjoyed your company today so much. We are back for no less than 6 hours tomorrow, starting at 2 p.m, finishing at 8, and we would love you to share the journey with us. We will see you tomorrow afternoon, and enjoy your Saturday in the company of the one and only GBX.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Book a test drive for the fully electric range today. Head online for details.